If you've ever had the airline company not deliver your clubs on a golf vacation, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Folks, welcome back. I'm back. New week, new month. It is Cinco de Mayo out there. So we're going to have a good time. We're going to party here. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Monday, May 5th starts right now. I couldn't be happier to be back. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Happy Monday. I survived my golf trip, but it was a close one. American Airlines did not deliver my bag. In fact, the first notification I got when my flight landed was, your bag is not here. And my bag being my golf clubs and me being on a golf trip, that was a rough 8 hours. But thankfully, American Airlines was able to drop my bag off. And the woman at the gate that told me how all of this was going to work was exactly right. So shout out to her and the American Airlines crew. Don't panic until you talk to somebody. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces ready to kick off this week. Pete, good morning, locked in. That is exactly what I want to see. Paul, good morning. It's great to see you again. Sun-kissed Yogi, welcome back. Happy Monday. Azrar, good morning. Couch Potato, good morning. Charles, good morning. Charles is ready to go here. Want to take a look at Coke, Odd, and EXAS. Let's do it. Let's add those to the list here. Done. We will absolutely cover those. Odd was a huge earnings winner from last week. Hitcham, good morning. How does the SPY look today? It looks down, given some of the news, but we're going to cover the SPY chart here in a sec, and I don't think there's reason to panic, at least not just yet. This is probably a good thing. Charles, good morning. Welcome back. Yassine, good morning. Welcome back. Ivan, good morning. Welcome back. It's going to be choppy. Fed week here, indeed. I totally agree, but I think we're prepared for it. Ashok, good morning. Hellcat, Bill, ATL, Russ. Good morning. What about the bear chilling in the pool? Yo, was that not crazy? How awesome would that be if you looked out your back window and saw a bear floating around on your pool floaty? That'd be something else. Chop Coop, good morning. It's good to see you again. Brett, good morning. Day Trader, Wiss, Gary, I did have a great time. Rooster, Eric, STD, Eriz. Sorry, messed that one up. Good morning, Tyler. Good morning. Brandy's locked in. Adele, Tyler, Josh, yes. Edward, Cassandra, yes. Bernhard, MD, White Chocolate Mocha, 3D. Welcome back. Thank you, 3D. It's good to be back. I'll tell you that much. Bobby, good morning. Glad the trip worked out. Me too. Like I said, Yogi, I was panicking. But they did a really good job. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about the SPY here. Let's see where we're at. Here you go, Hitcham. This is where we're at. So indeed, futures look like they are under pressure across the board here today. S&P futures ticking down 0.86% here this morning. Dow futures down 0.67%, and NASDAQ here down over a percent, 1.06%. Now, my read here on the SPY is, first of all, obviously the big thing over the weekend was Berkshire Hathaway's investors conference. If you've ever wanted to go to that, let me know in the chat. I always have, never been able to, obviously. But that happened. Warren Buffett kind of surprised everybody. Not sure how much that's actually going to bleed on the market. We got news about tariffs on foreign movies. Netflix is down in that, probably dragging tech down here as well. If we look, though, at the SPY, we've made a pretty awesome run recently. I mean, this is a pretty good run, especially in the face of all of the gloom and doom that's been out there. We actually traded up quite a bit here, and it did look like we're making a run at the 200-day. And I want to say I don't think that's over here yet. Obviously, we've got a lot of big earnings here this week. Let's actually take a quick look at that real fast. I know the big one that everyone is waiting for here today is likely going to be Palantir. We'll see how that reports here today. I'm curious if any of you are playing that for earnings. Are you playing maybe a regression back to the mean? Let me know, but that's going to be the big report here today. AMD tomorrow. We've got Uber in the morning. Can't wait to see what Wiz thinks about that. Disney, that'll be an interesting report, especially after some of these tariffs on foreign movies. And then AppLovin. I know that's been kind of a recent trade for us. They report on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got Shopify in the morning. That's probably going to be your biggest one. So we do have some more earnings here this week. We'll see what that has on the market. And of course, we have the Fed decision, but I'm fairly certain we're all kind of in the same boat on what to expect out of the Fed here today. So I'm just not sure there's going to be any surprises. As that relates to the SPY here, We had this nice move off one of the recent lows here, and now we're kind of pulling back right before we got to the 200. And to be honest with you, this to me is good. I wouldn't be shocked if we kind of chopped around here today. Some downside levels for you to pay attention to. 556, definitely going to be one. That's about your 50-day moving average. Got that value at 555.91. I would imagine, especially after getting over this moving average, we probably want to back test that moving average. We've got 2 closes so far. As long as we stay above 556 here today, to me, it just kind of feels like normal market action. We might be pulling back to that moving average and then maybe setting up for another test or a full-on test of that 200. It'll be interesting to see if we get that. That's kind of what I'm going to be looking for here today. I guess the other thing that we could look for, if this market turns around at all here today, before we get to the 200 moving average, or the 200-day moving average, excuse me, the high from Friday's session was 568.38. So we'll see where we end up going with that. If we back out here a little bit to, let's see, the fall of last year, and I actually had it here just a little bit more. If we actually back out to the fall of last year, you can see this area is really no stranger to us. This 575 area right above the 200-day, this was former resistance. So I am expecting, or excuse me, former support. So I am expecting some pretty tough resistance if we do get up there. It may take us a day or two to punch through that. But this is my read here. If we sell all the way back, if we continue to have negative news flow and the market is just weak all day and we close under that 50-day, that would be notable, because we're trying to go for 3 closes. If we can't get 3 closes above that, perhaps that level is not as sticky as we thought, but we'll see how that shakes out here today. So good stuff. The only other trades that I carried over from last week that were newer trades here, of course, the market short that we had on ended up expiring worthless. That was just a trailer piece there, so that wasn't really a big deal. And I still carried a little bit of that CEP short over this week. I see CEP here down. It closed at 47 on Friday after a pretty abrupt sell-off in the afternoon. Down a little bit more here today, so we'll see if that works out. Otherwise, we're going to be looking for some new trades here this week, and I do want to focus on earnings trades for any of you. I'm sure we're going to go over those charts here today. Okay, let's take a quick gander through some of the news here real quick. I'm going to start with the regular kind of a market overview here and a Ryan Dietrich stat that I wanted to get to. U.S. stocks likely to open lower after the S&P's 500's 9-day streak. Again, a little bit of a pullback here, not crazy, especially given the recent run that we have. Quote, any de-escalation in trade tension should be a positive. We're all kind of expecting that. Really, the question is going to be when, right? When are we going to get any of that? We'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. While aboard Air Force One, Trump confirmed U.S. officials are engaged in trade discussions with the Chinese counterparts, though he has no planned meeting with President Xi this week. While Chinese have proposed the concept of special envoys, the U.S. is reluctant, favoring direct negotiations between Trump and Xi. However, the Chinese view this proposal as, quote, risky and uncertain. End quote. That came from the South China Morning Post. Quick look at the Treasury. U.S. 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.31%. The 2-year bond was at 3.8%. We've been kind of watching that for a little bit. We're kind of coming off the back of that strong jobs report last week. Excuse me, according to Brian Terrian here, the investment strategist at Edward Jones, the process of completing a U.S.-China trade deal would likely be complex and lengthy. Shout out to y'all who have been saying that here for what feels like weeks. Didn't think this was going to happen overnight. We'll see how much work is actually being done through the back channels, as they say. Quote, any de-escalation in trade tension should be a positive for the economy and financial markets, in our view. I think that goes without saying. I think some of you feel like maybe this is a sell the news, right? We get some of these trade deals announced. The market may trade up on that, on some of this positive news. Looks like that's what we're getting here from Brian, or that's his outlook here. And then the question is going to be, what happens next, right? That's always going to be the question. They had Tom Lee on CNBC this morning. Tom Lee, of course, was saying that new highs are possible here this year. I know that flies in the face of what a lot of people are thinking. And I'll be honest with you, I think I've been more optimistic Call it bullish if you will. I think I've been more optimistic than most. I'm not ready to say that we're going to new highs yet. I feel like a lot's got to change here, and I certainly feel like some of these trade deals that we've been talking about are going to be necessary for us to print new highs. I really don't think there's any chance we get that without it, to be quite honest with you. Some more quotes to go through here. Bond markets have pushed back expectations for the next Fed funds rate cut from July to July from June. Again, I'm pretty sure we all know what to expect coming up here this week. Quote, wider earnings growth should drive more balanced market performance across sectors, strengthening the case for portfolio diversification. Ryan Dietrich, going back 40 years, there have been 7 other 9-day win streaks for the S&P 500. Only once did the economy move into a recession within 6 months, and that was in 1990 when oil spiked due to Iraq invading Kuwait. So do we have some other macro event on here that might do that? These stats actually pretty good for us so far. So we'll see how this shakes out. We'll see if we get just a normal back test here. Honestly, if we trade back down to the 50 and we hold it there and we get any type of good news, I think we're going to have some more upside here, at least in the short term. But again, we'll see how that all shakes out here. Okay, next, let's talk about Uncle Warren. One of the things that I wanted to know, like I said, I always wanted to go to one of these meetings. Let me know if any of you are interested in going to these meetings or the Berkshire Hathaway investors meeting. Warren Buffett shocked attendees at the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting on Saturday by announcing he will step down as CEO by the end of the year, with Greg Abel set to succeed him. Now, apparently it was the way that this was done. No one really knew other than his kids, including some of the other board members. Greg himself, from reports, wasn't even aware that this was going to happen. So that's probably a good day, figuring out that you're going to be the next CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, and probably, I think they said by the end of the year here. The Associated Press reports Buffett stated, quote, I think the time has arrived where Greg should become the chief executive officer of the company at year end. Now, they've been saying for a long time that it's been Greg Abel that's going to kind of be groomed for this role. That was the expectation. Actually, I think Charlie Munger several years ago kind of let the cat out of the bag, but that's what the succession plans were. I don't own Berkshire Hathaway stock, so I guess, on the surface, it doesn't really do anything for me. But the guy's really old. The guy's really old. He's one of the most successful investors of all time. It's remarkable that he's still as sharp as he is, and he's still doing all of the work that he is. Really incredible. Now, he also was very, very blunt. He's not retiring. He's actually still going to be the chairman of the board and still wants to participate in things. So it's not a retirement, despite the CEO being passed down. Buffett's retirement marks the end of a 60-year tenure, during which he transformed Berkshire Hathaway from a struggling textile firm into a major conglomerate with a market capitalization of $1.16 trillion. Just a remarkable job here. Buffett plans to retain Berkshire stock. He said, quote, I would add this: the decision to keep every share is an economic decision, because I think the prospects of Berkshire will be better under Greg's management than mine. How about that? How about that for some pressure, too? Those are some pretty big shoes to fill. For any of you that have been following Warren, you know that he's always had this kind of humor and all of that, which is really great. Looks like he was doing that again here over the weekend. He also mentioned his intention to, quote, hang around, end quote, to provide guidance during the transition, but operation and capital allocation decisions will be under Abel's control. Buffett's retirement signifies the end of an era for Berkshire Hathaway. His investment strategies and leadership have been instrumental in the company's growth. His leadership will be closely watched by investors and market analysts alike as he takes the challenge of steering the conglomerate in the post-Buffett era. So let me know what you think about Berkshire. I know it's an expensive stock. Does this move you in one way or another? And if you have any favorite stories about Berkshire Hathaway, let me know. Day trader saying, can't imagine being shocked that a 94-year-old multi-hundred billionaire retires. And I this is really a good point. Nobody should actually be shocked per se. I guess the one thing is that he has been so into this and so committed for so long. It's just almost like a changing of the guard thing, but really a good point here. No one should be shocked. no one should really be shocked. Alem says it's about time. Kelly Luca. Oh, I like that. Burke A is a meme stock. Burke A, absolutely a ridiculous stock. Okay. Next here, really quickly, Mohammed El Arian expects the Fed to hold rates. Let me know, I guess the easiest way to get through this is, does anyone expect something other than a rate hold here in this meeting? I can't imagine that's the case. But if you do, let me know, and let me know why here. El Arian, Allianz chief economic advisor, wrote on X that, quote, highly data-dependent Federal Reserve would likely find it hard to do anything other than leave interest rates unchanged. And I think, again, that seems fairly obvious here. In the week ahead, for the global economy and markets, look for the highly data-dependent Federal Reserve to find it hard to do anything other than leave interest rates unchanged and try to get through the statement and especially the press conference without making any. He goes on here. Let me actually pull this tweet up here, and I'll actually give you the El Arian tweet. Let me throw that here in the chat for you. Here, I just wanted to finish this. Without making any headlines, the Fed is one of several central banks holding a policy meeting this week. Given differences in individual countries' growth and inflation configuration, we would expect a mix of outcomes, including a UK and Brazil-like hike. So that was the rest of the quote that I wanted to finish here. Again, no surprise here at all. Goes on to say, this story here goes on to say, inflation concerns are fueling the cautious outlook, particularly as China's manufacturing sector contracted following the implementation of new tariffs by President Trump. U.S. banks have already downgraded China's 2025 growth forecast, potentially signaling a broader economic impact from the ongoing trade dispute. Good morning, Jim. It's great to see you. Good morning, Big Bees, Buffalo by Bicycle, Jane and Kayla, and anyone else that I might have missed. Brandy, Mama Bear, checking in here. Terlingua, Russ, Prudenica. I absolutely love it. Good morning here. Okay. So here we go. As far as Berkshire's earnings go, Berkshire Hathaway Q1 2024 earnings plunge amid tariff concerns. Operating profit fell 14%. Cash hit a record. I guess the big thing here, especially with Able taking over, one of the things that we should always maybe kind of keep on the back burner here, what might be merger and acquisition targets for Berkshire, especially with the amount of cash that they have here. The conglomerate's operated earnings, which include its fully owned insurance and railroad businesses, fell 14% to $9.64 billion in the first 3 months of the year. This is a significant drop from the $11.2 billion reported in the first quarter. According to Berkshire's report, the decline was largely driven by a 48.6% plunge in insurance underwriting profit, which came in at $1.34 billion during the first quarter, down from $2.6 billion a year prior. Berkshire attributed this to the Southern California wildfires, which led to a $1.1 billion loss in Q1. Now, when those fires first took place, we talked a lot about them, what stocks it might affect, what stocks might be good buys, especially if they're rebuilding some of these areas, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it looks like Berkshire here obviously took a hit there on the insurance side of the business. The company also suffered an approximate $713 million loss related to foreign exchange due to the dollar losing value in the first quarter. This is a stark contrast to the same period last year, where it benefited from a $597 million Forex gain. Those are pretty much write-offs for Berkshire. Quote, our periodic operating results may be affected but in future periods by impacts of ongoing macroeconomic and geopolitical events, as well as the changes in industry or company-specific factors or events. The pace of these changes in these events, including international trade policies and tariffs, has accelerated in 2025. Considerable uncertainty remains as the ultimate outcome of these events. Berkshire also expressed concerns over President Trump's tariffs and geopolitical risks, stating that it is unable to predict any potential impact from tariffs at that time. This should be really no surprise. We've been hearing that from all types of different C-suite executives from different companies here. The company's cash reserves also increased to a record $347 billion during the first quarter, up from $334 billion at the end of 2024. So let me know. Good morning, James. Great to see you here. Let me know. I do always appreciate the Die Hard reference. Which one did I miss there? Oh, okay. Tomorrow we have to decide which country we want to buy. That's, of course, Die Hard 3, Jeremy Irons delivering one of his best lines. Thank you, producer. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Palantir. Before we do that, let me stop blasting you with news here, and let's take a look at the chart for Palantir. Here is where we're at. How about this? Certainly looks like we're at a resistance point, doesn't it? This looks like a pretty humongous double top, and this might also form our Batman top, right? The Batman double top where you get those little bat ears up there. Let me know, folks. What do you guys think on Palantir here? Do we actually break this and go higher? Do fundamentals still not matter for this at all? Coming into today, forward price to earnings here of 293. You know, one of the things that we've been talking a lot about, stuff being making sense, et cetera, et cetera. I really don't think fundamentals matter as much. Well, I should say it this way: fundamentals are important depending on your time frame. This thing hasn't made fundamental sense in a while, and that has not stopped it from continuing to push new highs here. So it looks like we're going to try and break out from those previous highs. We'll see what type of move Palantir ends up doing here today. Remember that earnings report, probably the biggest one here coming after ours. We're right here at this double top. We are pretty extended. We're actually, look at this, the 50-day moving average, 91.95. We're up here at 124. So just huge extension here. RSI overbought, Williams percent hour overbought. All signs point to this really needing a pullback. Will we get it? That is going to be the big question here. Palantir Technologies reached an all-time high in Sunday overnight trading, topping 126.28 on Robinhood's 24-hour trading. We're down about 2 points from that. We did close at 124.28 on Friday. We're right here at 124 today. So looks like a little exuberance there in the overnight session. Bear Trap Report founder Lawrence McDonald reacted to the milestone on social media platform X, writing, quote, "So much fear, so many bears out there." And indeed, a lot of people just like us waiting for Palantir to make a pullback. And if everyone is waiting for the same thing, we might not get it. The stock surge, sorry about that. The stock surge comes just ahead of the company's first quarter earnings report due Monday, with analysts projected earnings of 13 cents per share on revenue of $862 million. Now, stocks that have run up into these earnings reports have tend not to fare all that well. It'll be interesting if Palantir does the same thing. Wedbush Securities analyst Dan Ives highlighted Palantir as, quote, "the missing piece in the AI puzzle," end quote, in a social media post on Sunday. Karp and Company are major barometer for the pace of U.S. commercial AI projects and initiatives, and we expect good news from the Messi of AI. Bringing in a soccer reference there for you. Ives wrote, referring to Palantir CEO Alex Karp. So Alex Karp drawing Messi comparisons now. Is that the top? You folks tell me. Palantir shares have surged 392% over the past year amid growing investor enthusiasm about the company's AI capabilities and government contracts. The company recently delivered Battlefield Titan systems to the U.S. Army and announced a partnership with NATO Allied Command Operations to provide AI-powered military technology. So which way is this going to go? Can't wait to see. I have no position for this. I think if I did play this today, I would probably play it to the short side. Maybe those are famous last words, but that's just kind of what my gut tells me here. Let's see. In the fourth quarter of 2024, Palantir reported $827.52 million in revenue and 14 cents in adjusted earnings per share, beating analyst estimates. U.S. revenue grew 52% year over year, and the company closing 129 deals worth over $1 million. Palantir has a consensus price target of 69.76 from 25 analysts. We are almost double that where the price is right now. So again, looks like even with taking in those analyst recommendations into consideration, we're still much higher there in price. With a high of 125 from Loop Capital and a low of 750. Wolf Research, 750 on Palantir. Yikes, that's no good there. But that street high 125. Remember, we're only $1 away from that. Part of this that's got me worried is that if everyone feels that this should be bearish or Palantir should move down, I would imagine most people are going to be on that side of the trade. Maybe this ends up trading up again. Again, would love to hear from you folks how you're going to handle this. The latest targets from RBC Capital, Morgan, and D.A. Davidson averaged 76.67, implying a 38.44% downside. Palantir shows a positive short to long-term price trend, according to the Benzinga Stock Edge rankings. Again, Benzinga Edge giving you a lot of rankings on the trend and the quality, value, and quality and value of the stock, of those stocks. So be sure to check out Benzinga Edge. Again, really, really curious to see what you folks have to say about Palantir. MD, yes, you want to talk about TEM. Tempest AI, yes, I will add that there. Buffalo by Bicycle says, it doesn't matter what Palantir does, I'm not selling. Buffalo by Bicycle, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that you have said before here you're not selling anything until it reaches 500 per share. Agreed, producer. Let's run a poll on Palantir. Let's see where the group is on that one. Where do you think we end up going here from that? Okay, last thing I want to talk about here real quick. Amazon rival. How much time do we? Oh my God, we've got oceans of time here. No guest until Matt Maley after the market opens, so we got plenty of time here. We'll talk about Temu here. Amazon rival PDD Holdings. Temu halts China to U.S. shipments amid Trump's 145% tariffs. Quote, actively recruiting U.S. sellers. Chinese bargain retailer Temu has abruptly stopped shipping products directly from China to the U.S. Consumers as it confronts President Trump's 145% tariffs and the end of a key import loophole that took effect on Friday. The e-commerce platform owned by PDD Holdings has pivoted to displaying products shipped from U.S.-based warehouses on its website. Items previously shipped directly from China are now labeled as out of stock, marking a dramatic shift for companies that built its U.S. presence, on ultra-cheap goods shipped directly from Chinese suppliers. Quote, Temu has been actively recruiting U.S. sellers to join the platform, end quote. A company spokesman told CNBC, the move is designed to help local merchants reach more customers and grow their businesses. The spokesperson added that the pricing for U.S. shoppers remains unchanged. The change follows an expiration of the de minimis rule, which since 2016 has allowed items worth $800 or less to enter the country duty-free. The provision ended at 12:01 Eastern on Friday under an executive order signed by Trump in April. Now, this is really interesting to me because I actually just ordered new puddle lamps for my car, and they came from China. And I had ordered them a couple of weeks ago, and I was amazed at how cheap they were. Sounds like it was because I ordered them just in time, and this de minimis rule came into effect there. The new regime imposes 90% duties on $75 per item on Chinese imports, scheduled to increase to $150 per item by June of 2025. The end of duty-free loopholes affects other retailers too. XIII has raised prices, I hope that's how you pronounce it, while adding a checkout notice that tariffs are included in the price that you pay. Amazon's haul, which is competing with Temu by offering products priced at $20 or less shipped from China, is also impacted here. Critics of the de minimis provision have argued it harmed American businesses while facilitating shipments of illicit substances due to reduced customer inspections. Forever 21, now liquidating stores, previously blamed Temu and XIII's ultra-low prices for gutting its customer base, according to court filings reported by Axios. So there you go. PDD. Is anyone, just out of curiosity here, let's take a look at the PDD chart. Is anyone trading PDD? Does this news make you want to trade it a little bit more? I think one of the things that we wanted to do here, I wanted to extend this out a little bit, extend this trend line out a little bit. Let me make sure I'm hitting the bottom there so I don't change it all that much. Pinduoduo still in the downtrend from the beginning of this year, but really not all that terrible. And right now it is trying to get back above that trend line. We are testing that right here. We'll see if we end up getting that. We did recently have a death cross. We'll see if that means anything for PDD anytime soon. 50-day moving average there, 111.72, and 115 is going to be your 200-day. Okay. That is PDD. Let me know if any of you folks are trading those at all. All right. Palantir just extended in the week and month graph. Even if it's a great earnings report, there's a chance for a correction due to price. Justine, this is exactly what a lot of us are looking for here. You're totally right on Palantir. Would not be shocked if this pulled back at all. Got to imagine that those premiums are going to be pretty juiced here. Let's see, pull up here. So the May contract has a implied volatility of 121. The contract that expires this week, an implied volatility of 168. Got to be honest, on the surface there, I might have thought that had been higher. Nonetheless, though, here you were also talking about the weekly and the monthly chart. They look very, very similar. These both look extended to me, monthly and weekly here. So does the daily, though. I mean, again, my big worry here about this entire thing is that when it looks so obvious, you're likely going to get the opposite reaction there. Justine, I think you're totally right. We'll see if we end up getting any type of correction to the price. Let me know if you are trading this at all. Big B's here reminding us correctly, by the way, Palantir is an anomaly. It's going to beat the pants off earnings, but the market may react negatively because of the economic environment. We'll see. Honestly, good earnings, a pullback here, that actually might set up for a buy, don't you think? I kind of do. So we'll see how Palantir goes here today. I'm especially going to be monitoring some of the option flow here for Palantir today. I want to stay on top of this as best we can. Izzy saying, Ryan, what would your pullback level be on Palantir? Well, I don't know if you want to ask me because my previous pullback level was $60, and I was definitely looking to add there. We got to about 66. So I was off by about $6, and then frankly, the price doubled from the level that I wanted to add it at. So honestly, at this point, Izzy, I think that if we pulled back here on this earnings report, I would have a very, very tough time saying that we're going to take out this candle here. I got to think, even if the market, no matter what Palantir reports, even if the market decides, you know what, this thing needs to come back in, I honestly don't see this crossing below 110, at least not in the immediate future. Now, I just read you some of the quotes here about how this is an AI darling and all of that. And I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I've got to think 111, 110 is going to be that near-term level. I don't even know if we get that. The thing is, though, if we pop here on this and then all of a sudden reality starts to take hold, I could see this thing falling a little bit more. I think if it falls directly after the earnings print, it'll probably carve out a near-term bottom. That's just a gut feeling, though. I don't really have any levels to go off of on that. Let me know, though, Izzy, what level do you think this might pull back to if it does, in fact, pull back? And if you can, try and assign a time horizon for that. On the flip side, might as well just look at it. Here's the thing. If everyone is expecting this to pull back and it ends up breaking out here and breaking out to new all-time highs and we have this blue sky breakout, I mean, especially if the market holds up with any type of good news, I think this could be a multi-day runner to the upside, even if we do eventually see a pullback. So again, James here saying, I'm expecting more to the downside as well. James, I think that you're referring to Palantir here. Yeah, your last comment was from Palantir as well. We'll see. I think a lot of us are expecting it. I'm curious just to see if we're going to get it here today. Some cheap options for this print might be a good way to play it. We'll see. Jim saying 110 on the pullback, 110, 111. That makes sense based on some of the near-term candles here. The one that I'm putting the most significance on is going to be this one from Wednesday. Bottom of that candle here is 110.54. So that 110, 111. Jay Wild here reminding us here. Oh, sorry, producer. Can you go back to that? Where was that? Here we go. I got it. Palantir ETF bull bear is PLTD and PLTU is the upside one. So maybe playing those ETFs might be the way to go. Justine goes on to say 118 was a hard level to break, so I think it could be the first level to pull back to. I'll tell you what, you're right about that. I would say that 118, that really wouldn't even be much of a pullback, would it? I know that would be 6 points from where we're at, but I mean, we're talking what, 118? Let's just measure this out. We're talking maybe 5%. Let's see. What are the options? Options are pricing in a $18 move by the end of this week. I got to be honest. I think if it pulls back, it's likely to pull back a little bit more. But Justine, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Down a chump saying I show a 45 million supply forming at 124.08. So it's got to get over that 124.08, it sure looks like. Izzy goes on to say, Palantir, I think if anybody knows what this will do, should get a lottery ticket. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think at these levels, it's very hard to judge. Palantir in the low 50s is an easier call, but it won't happen. You know, Izzy, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to see 60 so bad. After a substantial pullback, even if it remained or felt overvalued, I still think a substantial pullback would have made for a pretty good trade. And in fact, it did. I just had too conservative of a level, it would seem. Just crazy. Lion, good morning, Lion. Just sold a put for the 100 strike for Palantir that expels in July. The premium is $600 per contract. Okay, good stuff there. All right. I do have some of these tickers that you guys wanted to go over. We've got oceans of time, so we can absolutely get prepared for that. Let me know if there are any other stocks that you want. I probably missed some. I appreciate how ready all of you folks were. Let me just scroll back up here. Joshua wanted to take a look at MicroStrategy. That's right at that support level that we've been talking about, that 383.40 level. Let me add that to the list here too, Joshua. What else do we want to take a look at here today? Did I miss anything? I got them all. I think I got them all. Ashok, there's your discussion on Palantir. Let me know if that's what you were looking for or what you think, if there's anything that I didn't cover there. Okay. And that's it. All right, let's start ripping through some of these charts. We're going to start here with ODD. This is Oddity Tech. This made a huge move post earnings on the GLP-1 angle. Shout out to Jay Rice. I know he was trading this one, especially after earnings here. Here's what's going on. Now, we're definitely overbought. We're on the Williams percent hour and the RSI here. Does look like we're trying to discover some price up here, right? So if we take a look inside, where would we really want to hold? This level right here, this $60 level absolutely is going to be important. We actually kind of tested this after we moved up twice, and so far we're able to hold it. We're sitting right here at 61.80. I'd watch this $60 level for a break back down. I would imagine we'd really want to hold this 52. This was the low that we put in right after that earnings report. I think if you give up that 52, this thing's likely to have a pullback. I guess my only follow-up question for whoever it was that asked about this, I'm sorry, I didn't note the name. I just took down the ticker. Are you looking for maybe a regression back to the mean here? Are you looking for a possible pullback here, maybe to try and trade that after this earnings pop? I think another level you might want to take a look at here is going to be 56. I don't know that this thing's necessarily going to pull back here. It's a pretty nice little start of a bull flag. We'll see if we continue to get that flag to be drawn here on daily chart. But those are going to be some levels that I would look at, most notably 60 and 56 to the downside. Obviously, an upside level here, taking out the candle's high from Friday. That high is 65.42. Let's just call it 65 and a half. Might have some more bullish action here. ODD. And what does what do the contracts look like? I know we talked about this before. Tell you what, that May contract does have pretty good open interest in it, so it should be liquid enough to trade. Predicting a $6.63 move here by the end of next week. So there you go. I think we can probably play ODD using some of those options. Let me know if you're playing this for a pullback or a potential breakout. It was Charles here. You're hoping for a pop forward. Okay, so Charles, appreciate that. That context helps. I think one of the things that you'd really not want to see, you really don't want this price to move under 60, and then your trigger here for a potential breakout, a pop of that Friday high, that was what, 65 and a half. So we'll see if we end up getting that. See if we end up getting that here. Again, let me just see if there was any news that I missed on this. We did have some re-ratings here, some price target re-ratings. That took us to the 60 and the high 60s, it looks like. And that's pretty much where we're hanging out right now. The one thing to remember here about ODD, they did increase their guidance. So we're probably seeing some continuation on that guide that they ended up getting. Good stuff there. ODD, not one that I'm familiar with trading, but anything attached to the GLP-1 angle, we've been talking about this for a while. We are likely in the early innings of that, if not the infancy of that. And I know you folks are mentioning, it looks like Bill Ackman here is on CNBC. He increases stake in Howard Hughes. So that's going to be ticker HHH. Looks like this is popping here now. This is up. 6.5% here. Looks like this is actually off its highs earlier, but doing a fairly good job holding in here. So I can't hear what Ackman's saying. If there's anything important out of that interview, let me know. Let me know. Okay. And HIM's earnings today. You know what? Let me add that to the list here, James. We can take a look at that. Okay, that's odd. Let's take a quick look here at Coke. I may even have 13. Take another look at this. He's been holding Coke for a long time. This chart actually looks great. We're really kind of moved off of the level that we had been in since the fall of last year to February of this year. We back tested this breakout level that we had. That looks good. We've traded up towards the high here. That actually looks pretty good. We'll see if we can get above the $74 high. Right now, I think it's great that it's holding that 50-day. Remember, Coke doesn't move a whole lot very quickly, so we'll see if this can continue to push up here. Basically, if this breaks this 50-day, much like we did down here, you can see as soon as we ended up breaking this, we popped right back into it. A break of that 50, I think we probably test the 200-day on the downside. That's 67.5. We're currently sitting right here at 71.5, 71 3/4. So you're looking at only about 4 points of downside there. Okay, GPUS, that's actually one of the movers. We're definitely going to cover that one. It looks like it's knifing now. Okay, sweet. Ackman loves Uber. Says Izzy. I got to be honest, I actually just recently used Uber. Pretty good. Izzy, I got to give you a shout out here, and we'll give you a sound effect. The Uber calls here have been awesome. This recent run off of the low, pretty crazy. Does look like we're coming up to some resistance here. 87? Uber has earnings here this week in 2 days. Looks like Wednesday before the market opens. So we're going to have this position. You know what? This actually might be a really good one to ask Anne-Marie about tomorrow. Let me take some notes here real fast. This might be an ample one to get a trade set up for, especially with that doing its earnings Wednesday morning, beg your pardon, but still taking me a sec to get back in the swing of things here. Really good call here for Uber. Ackman didn't say anything about this in this interview, right? He's just talking about Howard Hughes. Oh, and that's interesting. You can get flowers delivered with Uber Eats just in time for Mother's Day. Don't forget Mother's Day, folks. Don't forget Mother's Day. You won't like what happens if you do that. Okay. Yes. Okay. So you want to do an Uber trade. Okay. We'll do that. I'll add that to the list here. Uber for Anne-Marie tomorrow, and we'll go ahead and get that set up. That sounds good. Okay, so I don't really have anything else on Coke. I'll ask 13 though, because I know he's a long-term holder of Coke. One of the other ones that you wanted to take a look at was EXAS. This has recently had a nice little pop off this $40 low that we've recently put in here. The big news here though is going to be, can we get above that 200-day moving average? Awesome that we were able to take out the 50. Awesome that we were able to gap over the 100. So far, we've held that. Let's see where we're at here today. We lost it here today, so we're coming back in. Looks like 41.16. Boy, we are so far we've already filled this gap back down here. You know, part of me wonders if this is going to give up some more, or if this might bounce now that this gap has been filled. Key level here 45.5 on EXAS. We'll see if that ends up breaking down. What else? This is not one that I took a look at all over the weekend. Looks like they had some good earnings there, got some price target readjustments, and then kind of closed that gap down. So here, one of the big things that we want to see here on this one, do we continue to break down? We're only, a point and a half away from that 50. We've closed that entire gap down. Not looking great here, EXAS. Okay. Big B's, appreciate this. I'm really liking the rally, but I won't put on my bullhorns until we're above 6,000 on the S&P. Okay, good stuff there. Ryan, did you see Trump's tariffs on movies overseas? Sorry, we got on late. Yes, we did. Now, I kind of mentioned that at the outset here. I guess we might as well take a look at that. The big one that's affecting here today is going to be Netflix. Netflix down 4.63% in the pre-market, although it does look like it's up off the lows. Yeah, indeed it is. Shares of the film and streaming platform companies are trading lower after President Trump announced 100% tariffs on movies produced outside the country. I'm really not sure what kind of impact this is going to have long term. Obviously, Netflix is responding to that. I would imagine Disney also lower on that. They mentioned some of the other streaming companies on there, so I would also take a look at Fubo here. What does this mean? Here is Fubo. Boy, that's a rough looking 5-minute chart. Fubo looks like it might be testing the dollar territory there. Netflix is the one I want to focus on. The big thing here, remember, despite this news here, we crashed all the way back down to 1100. And I say that jokingly because we basically just erased 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We erased 6 of the 11 consecutive up days here on Netflix. This stock's been an absolute monster. Just looking at the RSI here, this thing was overbought. A little bit of a pullback here. I really don't think this is anything to worry about, to be quite honest with you. This actually might just be a buying opportunity. Let's see if we can get back down. I'd really kind of like this at 1050. You know what? Maybe we should ask Anne-Marie about Netflix as well. Maybe we can set up a potential pullback trade here, or maybe a pullback and then a move back towards highs. We'll see here. I still like Netflix's outlook. Despite these tariffs here, I still like Netflix's outlook, especially if y'all think we're going into a recession. I think Netflix is going to get cut even a little bit in all that. So, okay, that was Netflix. We took a look. We got what? TEM, Hood, Monster, and Hims. We'll go ahead and take a look at that. But before we do, let me go ahead and welcome 13 in here. 13, happy Monday, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. It's another beautiful day out here in South Texas. How about you? How was your vacation?
I told the brief story right when I signed on, 13. It was an interesting one. Left on Thursday after the show, and my golf bag didn't make it. Uh-oh is right, because this was a golf trip. So flew American Airlines. I actually, when I got my new phone, I got those little Galaxy Smart tags, and I threw one in my golf bag so you can always track it. Took off. Soon as I landed, I got a push notification saying that my bag did not arrive. And as you can probably imagine, I was panicked. Ended up talking to a gate agent at American Airlines who was incredibly nice, helpful, and calm. And everything that she told me ended up being correct. My bag made the next flight into Arkansas, and then they delivered it to my house, or to the house I was staying at, via courier. Showed up at 12:30 at night. I left the next day at 10:30 in the morning for the golf trip. So I just made it. Had an amazing trip. I am happy to be back. Let me ask you, how did it go how did Friday go?
Oh, it's fine. Kevin and I had a great time. Chat was very respectful, so they should get a
Awesome.
ring for that.
Awesome.
We traded some other movers. There was freight, and we traded freight. We traded kids, which I guess is something that up until now only cartels could say. But we had a great time, and yeah, we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Kevin was great. We should have him back on here.
Awesome. We will absolutely have Kevin back on here. And I will say that is great. Thank you, everybody, for being nice. 13, I do want to start off with one thing here. I don't know if you caught it right before you got on. One of the stocks that I got asked about here by Charles was Coke. Mm-hmm. I talked about its recent move up and the level that it seems to be trading around here. One of the things that I had said is we really want this to hold above the 50. It doesn't move a whole lot. Do you have anything here on Coke? I know you've been a long-term holder of this. Anything on the chart or something that Charles might benefit for?
Well, I don't hold Coke anymore. I sold this one last year, and I picked up Pepsi. So Pepsi's the one I'm in now. But
yes, brand switching. Look at 13 over here.
Well, when opportunities arise, and kind of when I picked up Coke, it was at a pretty steep discount. And when I sold it, it was kind of where it is now. So I did really well, and I just wanted to move on to something else that seemed to be better at the time. So I'm in Coke. I'm sorry, I'm in Pepsi. I'm not in Coke anymore. But when I look at this chart, looking at the daily, it's kind of showing that we have a bit of a double top here. You can see it more prominently if you look at longer time frames like the weekly or the monthly.
Here's your monthly chart.
Yeah. So what could happen next is you're going to want to keep an eye on this like $71 level. I think that's the support that the price is kind of leaning on right now, because if we lose that, then it appears to me like the the price is going to end up going well into the 60s, probably down to 66 would be my guess. So I think you're just kind of at a point right now where you're not sure whether or not to buy because you're up at a spot where it looks like it's about to turn around and go lower. I would say if you're looking to add to this, you probably are going to get some better opportunities based on the way this chart looks. It looks like the price will come in a little bit, but if it starts to go beyond 74, which appears to be the big resistance area that it just was dealing with last month, then this thing's likely going higher. I just don't really see that though. I think this does come in, but we'll see. You're pretty much in that range right now of waiting to see what the price is going to do. It's either a loss of 71 or a breakout over 74. I kind of think that's the range that you're in right now, and I just don't think I'd be buying up here with the RSI so extended on the monthly. It's at 62. Okay. So I think if you're looking to add or go long, there's probably gonna be some better opportunities at a lower price.
Okay, really good stuff there. That 66 level given to you by 13. I had said 66 and a half, 13, because the one thing that I really didn't want to see was a breakdown. Where was that? 66 and a half. It was right down in here, right? This candle right in here.
Okay.
Where are you? Right here. Really didn't want here. If I back out here, you can see we really kind of broke out of this area. I thought if we came back in and broke this area and came back down, that wouldn't be good. We'll see if we end up getting that pullback there. 66, 66 and a half. Okay. Really good stuff. I do have some more stocks that we want to take a look at. Do we want to knock the movers out of the way?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
It looks like one of them was pretty hot early. Robert was mentioning that this thing was knifing, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Let's see here.
Which one is that?
GPUS. Yes. Okay. So this definitely did. So here you go. So we actually had two impulse moves on this. We had that initial move there and then a big impulse move in a second. We've retraced that entire second move and we're back down into that first candle there on GPUS. News here, hyperscale data announces preliminary Q1 revenue surpassing 25 million, sees full year 25 revenue as 115 to 125 million. That's notable here. Market cap in this company is only 2 million. So getting some pretty good news there on the preliminary numbers. So Q1 issued Q1 and full year sales guidance. That's what's driving this higher here. Still holding at about 134% higher. Quick look around the horn here. Short interest, 15.96% of the float shorted with 2.82 days to cover. That comes on less than 100,000 shares of volume. In fact, 88,000 shares. Stocks traded 32 plus million here today. Not really sure that's going to matter. 13, you got anything here on GPUS, hyperscale data?
Well, the float of 1 million, it's not going to be too difficult to push this around. Company does have cash, so that's not a concern. And there's also that short interest of about 16% that's helping it move along here this morning. One of the things that I was looking at here with this is that they were reporting preliminary revenue of 25 million for Q1. Looking at their financials, that's not the first time they've reported that amount. Matter of fact, they reported much better previously. So it looks like with the way that their revenue has been declining over the last several quarters, that this is a turnaround preliminary notification. So I think that's how I'm taking it. That the company's actually going back to increase their revenue because their last revenue, their last report showed revenue of 19.4 million. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. And this is preliminary data. This is not the actual earnings report. So this could continue to trade up potentially over the course of the next 14 days before they report, and then it might end up being a sell the news event. It just depends on how this is trading at the time. But for now, if this continues to trade up, I don't think I'd want to be owning it when they finally report earnings. I think that could be where they end up selling the news if this trades up into earnings.
Okay, you actually might be getting a little bit of that sell the news effect here after the initial digestion. GPUS pulling back here. You think this $3 level is important? Sorry, get in there.
Yeah, I was looking at the 325 area.
Okay.
It's right beneath that right now, so we'll see if it can recapture it. But I'd also drew a couple of lines just out of my own curiosity to see if it was going to hold above them. So we'll see if that ends up holding up or not. But if it does need to kind of get back up and recapture 325 if it's going to have any chance of getting back to VWAP. So we still have 36 minutes before the open, and it could go on another push up to view it before we even open. So I'll just wait and see what happens here with GPUS.
Yeah, and we really want to see more volume flow in here when the market opens. I know we've had kind of a busy pre-market. We'll see if we get some more volume here in the regular session. Okay, good stuff there. GPUS, that's our first mover. And that one, by the way, I know we talked about this a little bit last week. That one is over 100%, at least so far. We'll see if that holds up. Next one here on the list is going to be AIFF. This is Firefly Neuroscience. I know that we've traded this before, but I can't pin it down. I can't necessarily remember when. Firefly Neuroscience shares are trading higher after the company announced that it acquired Evoke Neuroscience for $6 million in a cash and stock deal here. So that's sending this stock up by about 40% here. Take a look at the daily chart, seeing this is a nice little pop here, this $6 level in sight here today. If we continue to trade higher, we'll see if we do that. Quick look around the horn here, 7.76% of the float shorted with 1.21 days to cover, float of 5.5 million. On average, the stock trades just shy of 7 million shares. Today, we've already traded about 12. You got anything here on AIFF, maybe any former levels?
I thought we had traded this one. I don't see any levels I had previously, so it may not have been a too fancy of a mover. But it does look familiar, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you know what? Now that I'm looking at this 13, I'm willing to bet it was right in here. Because given some of the action that we saw here in the pre-market of Tuesday, March 18th, that led to a just sad trombone of a session here. We basically pulled back everything on that. So I would imagine we probably didn't set any more levels, and that's probably what happened here. But okay, we've traded this one for. What do you got?
Yeah, so it's interesting. This company uses AI to develop neuroscientific solutions. So that's pretty interesting. And they just acquired this Evoke Neuroscience company to help with their brain model development. So just another company they're bringing into their fold to help grow their business's product, refine it, make it better. The company is going to acquire this company in a $6 million cash and stock deal. So looking at their financials, I kind of have to wonder, well, where's all this money coming from? And once the deal is closed, are they going to need more capital? I tend to think that they're going to need more capital. They have 1.8 million in the bank. They lose about 3.7 a quarter, according to the last earnings report. So they could do some kind of offering or capital raise as early as today, but I don't know exactly when that's going to happen or how soon they're going to need to do it. That's just something that you're going to have to keep in the back of your head because this company is going to be needing to do that at some point.
Okay. Really good stuff there. AIFF. We'll see. Does this pull back at all like it did the last time? Or does this turn into another 100% runner here today? We shall see. By the way, I gave you an initial report there on the S&P futures. Does look like it's kind of chopping around here. So it didn't trade down anymore. Looks like it might be firming up a little bit here before the open. Okay, we got one more, maybe two more here on the list, and then I will absolutely go to KIDZ. I know that was one from last week, so we'll definitely check that out here and just kind of circle back there. Next one here is going to be IVF. This is INVO Fertility. We traded this one last week too. Looks like this was one on Wednesday and on Monday of last week. We popped again here today. We've retraced about 66% of that move. I don't see anything here in terms of fresh news. I think this was a ticker change that we had before, which is where we're getting some of the price history here. But nonetheless, IVF, this popped here today on no news and some volume. Looks like it really struggled to get above $3, which is where it found resistance back on Wednesday of last week. And we've kind of come in here. Now, we haven't gone negative. We're still up 20%. We'll see if we can hold on to that. Short interest here. I don't have a reading. Remember, that should be from the ticker change there. I do get a float reading here, 4.9 million shares in the float. On average, the stock trades 18 million shares. We've already traded 11 today. 13, what do you think on this one? Ticker IVF.
I didn't take too close of a look on this one. I didn't see it. I wasn't as into the 20% or higher range, which is what I'm usually looking at for some of these. But yeah, we did trade this one last week. I think if this is moving on anything, it's probably going to be having to do with what was in that Form 8. There may have been some mention of warrants being exercised. I didn't read the entire thing, but some news could be in there. I was looking to see if there was maybe some relative volume here on the chart that might be giving it a lift as well. And it looks like that the largest amount of volume was like, back on the 30th, which, I don't think it'd carry over, 3 days. So I really don't know what to make of this one. I just have some of the previous levels that we can lean on. I really can't speak too much on the reason it's moving, but if it is moving, so we know that. So here's some levels. We are currently on the 5-minute chart, looking at the 65 EMA as support. That's already providing that and giving it a bit of a rebound right now. The next thing we're going to want to see is a recapture of 240. I have that level right beneath VWAP. Yep. And that's these are some levels I have marked off here from the last time we traded it.
Yep.
285 and 305 are going to be the next levels to the upside. And once you know it, we hit a high of 309 this morning. So those levels still in play. Just need to see some recapturing of them, particularly VWAP. And we have about 30 minutes before we open where this could get a little bit more volatile. So we'll see what we get when we're closer to the open. That's IVF.
Okay. Really, really good stuff there. All right. Well, let's see. KWE, this was the other one that was coming up on the scanner here. It looks like this has had kind of a wild pre-market here. Let's see if this moved on any news. Nope, I don't see any news here on KWE. This popped, it looks like, in the after hours on Friday, popped again and also dropped again here today. We're actually holding about plus 10% here. I don't think there's anything on here. You didn't have anything on KWE, did you? There's no news or anything on this. Okay, we'll take a look at this when this opens, see what happens here. 9.5% of the float shorted. Got a float here, a micro float, 524,000. So this thing can get wild. Just one to keep on the back burner, but don't necessarily have a breakdown.
Yeah. So at $7, I have VWAP, and when I look at to the left here from the price action on Friday, $7 appears to be about where resistance is really starting to kick in. You do have a number of prints above that, but all the price action in the after hours eventually came back down under 7. So 7 seems to be a pretty strong number. That's really just the one and only thing I'm going to be keeping an eye on for now with KWE, since it's not really something I covered.
Yep.
But $7 VWAP. That's about what I'm waiting to see what happens here as we approach the open.
All right, Tom giving us some more stuff to take a look at here. Be careful with this one. They had a shelf offering. They did a private placement as well as a reverse split. By the way, just as a reminder, all of that stuff available here right in the details tool in Benzinga Pro. Tom is right about all of that. Also, also worth mentioning for those of you that have Benzinga Pro, you've been seeing me talk about the morning update. That is now available on production. So you no longer have to use the beta. We officially released our morning update, release. And we also released these rankings. So I've been talking to you about some of these rankings that you can see in Edge. They're also now here in Pro. Tim Melvin has helped us with these rankings. So those numbers should be pretty good, pretty easy to follow along. Okay, let me go back to
real quick. With regard to KWE, when you get these motions of capital raising, and what you were just mentioning there with I'm sorry, who was the gentleman that give you that information about KWE, their reverse splits. So Tom, yes.
Yep.
So when you hear about doing offerings, doing reverse splits, that's all the same motions of a company that's trying to regain NASDAQ compliance. You look into the news feed here, wouldn't you know it? KWESST announces share consolidation to ensure NASDAQ compliance. So here we have a NASDAQ compliance play. This thing will likely run again on a headline regarding the moves it has to take to regain NASDAQ compliance. So reverse splits, offerings, post those moves, especially when after an offering, that usually does cause a large drop that can create a buying opportunity to if it rebounds. So just keep your eye open for KWE. I'm not suggesting you hold this for any long period of time or anything like that, but just keep it on your radar for a momentum move or a recompliance move, as these can really take off. And the float is less than almost 500,000 shares, so very, very light.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Okay, I want to talk about a couple of things here. First of all, good morning, Jay. Was a great hockey and great golf week. Let me tell you something, Jay. Big Cedar is incredible. Gonna have to make another trip back there and play Pains, maybe Cliffhanger, the new course that they made, but that's neither here nor there. How about Scotty winning by 31, minus 31? Didn't win by 31, minus 31. That's insane. Absolutely insane. And then the hockey game last night that went to double overtime with the Winnipeg Jets winning. I mean, oh my God, I didn't think I was going to even see any of that. Ended up catching a little bit of the overtime while I was waiting for my Uber last night. But okay. Good stuff there. Okay, I wanted to take a look here. KIDZ. This was one from last week. You guys were asking for levels here on KIDZ. Hadn't looked at this again or since then. Here's the just goes to show you. Here's the huge move, and so far what we've pulled back from. We are down 8% here today. Most recent news we have is from Friday. I don't think there's anything new here. 13. Do you have any levels on this one? I will say right away here, this $6 to $6.25. Really want to hold this. It does kind of look like we've put in a double top here. If you're also counting the pre-market from what was this Friday, if you're counting the pre-market from Friday, I could easily see this coming back in. You got any levels on this one? To me, it sure seems like $6 is going to be the big one right now. Big level that we're looking at right now.
$6 is one of my levels.
There it is.
$6, $7.50, and $8.60.
Yeah, and this $7 level looks like that already got tested here in the pre-market once. We'll see if we get another one.
One thing that we were keeping an eye on, and I think I had I pointed this out to Kevin on Friday, was if you draw a trend line from the bottom of, let's see, that was May. What was Friday? Is that May 2nd? Yeah. So if you draw the low of the pre-market on May 2nd. And draw it up through the lows of that day, all the way through to the, the first. I knew I was seeing something wrong. So I'm sorry. Start with the lows of the first, draw it through the lows of the entire session, up through the pre-market of the second, and you'll see that same trend line was originally support, and then on Friday it lost that level and became resistance, and the price traded right up to that. So let's see. You have it. You'd have to.
I think
that's pretty close. My trend line kind of goes right up to the top of the Friday session. Yeah.
Okay, so like right here.
Yeah, but and then it's all the lows that from the regular session in the pre-market on Thursday. I knew I had those days mixed up, but yeah. So that trend line. We were keeping an eye on that. I was keeping an eye on that for a move back up to that after we lost it out of the open. Sure enough, that's what ended up happening. We got up to 1065. Now we're still beneath it here. I don't know that we're going to necessarily trade back up to there, because if we did get back up that trend line, that's going to put it up at around $13 or $14, and I don't necessarily believe that we're going to see that today.
Yeah, we'll see. It does look like it's trying to test 7. So we'll see here on KIDZ. I think this is just going to be trading action. I don't think there's really any fundamentals that we can stand on here. Okay, one more I wanted to take a look at here. Izzy had asked about it real quick. Izzy was saying pumpers are talking about CEP, and he doesn't care about my opinion. He wants to know what you think, 13. So I'll go ahead and turn this over to you. The one thing I will say, I want to know, what are they saying, Izzy? What are the pumpers saying? I had mentioned last week when I was with you folks, I did open up a small short on this via puts. It was the May 30 puts. Frankly, I would love for this to continue to come back in. That'd be great. I'm happy to see it down here in the pre-market, although we're curling back up. 13, any levels for our guy Izzy here?
Yeah, 58 kind of stands out to me as a resistance area. We have had a higher print than 58, but if you look at the price action on Friday and Thursday, 58 seems to be about where the price was topping out on both of those. We did have an impulse move through 58 at about just past the 11th hour on Thursday morning. That took it up to 59.73. But if you look at those candles during that time, they all look like they're very much topping out. Yeah. So I think 58 is the level I'd like to settle on as the big resistance area that the price would have to break out of in order to see $6. Other than that, I think this is going to have to deal with some of these EMAs, like the 200. That's the one that the price has been finding resistance at ever since the market closed last week. The after hours on Friday, right up to that 200 EMA on the 5-minute, rejected. Hasn't been back there since. So that's what I would be watching for this morning on CEP.
Okay.
Currently, that value is 47.81.
Okay, I'm just eyeballing this trend line that's pretty much jumping off the screen here. This is what I'd like to see it not get over. Izzy here saying that the pumpers are bullish. Stop me if you've heard that before. Hopefully the pumpers are wrong here on this one. I guess that at least that's what I'm hoping for here. Okay, Sideshow T, Yakshamash says, I'm feeling super patient today. Probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing. Okay, two other stocks here. You guys are asking about HIMS. We can absolutely take a look at that. That was actually on the list. Jay, you were mentioning Skechers. Let me actually just flip over to the bigger chart here. We can take a look at that. Skechers reported earnings and had a monster move here. That's going to be ticker SKX for Skechers. I did not cover this one here today. Skechers up 25.5% on the backs of that. Skechers shares are trading higher after the company agreed to be acquired by 3G Capital. I'm sorry, this was not earnings. I beg your pardon. Acquired for 60. Okay, so this is why we didn't cover it, Jay. I'm sorry. I mixed this one up with another stock that we had here this morning. There's no trade here. Skechers will already be done. It's a buyout. Pete's got it. Jay, I guess the only thing that I would ask here, does this merger tell you anything else about the space? Is there anything else that maybe you're looking at based on this merger? 3G Capital acquiring it. So, yeah, sorry about that. I don't really think there's a trade here.
Yeah, I don't know what 3G Capital is or what their.
It's got to be a private equity firm, no?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I don't. What I'm getting at is I don't know what their portfolio consists of or what kind of
yeah, fair.
Trying to fold Skechers into their business. Do they exclusively do apparel? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what ends up coming out of this, but Skechers is a shoe company, so.
Jay, let me know. Let me know what you think on this. There's no trade here. The one thing I will say is when we often talk about mergers and acquisitions on this show, this is why, right? When you wake up and one of your big holdings is up 25, 26% on a buyout, pretty good morning for any of you that are holding Skechers here. Pretty much took it right back to the 200-day, interestingly enough. Okay. Crocs, Deck, ON, VFC, Nike, a few sympathy names here. Are there some that you like a little bit more than others? I mean, Nike, I'm sure still has some of the China headwinds, although a potential breakout here from 60 might fill that gap to 64.5. ON, we've talked about that one quite a bit here. That's been a monster. I absolutely love the shoes here. We are also teasing a potential breakout if we can cross above that 200-day moving average. ON, giving us some more names there. And then Crocs, your big one, Jay. This has been a huge one. Let me know when the buy time is for Crocs again. Maybe if we can get back down to this $80 level or so. All right. Anything else you want to cover, 13?
No, I'm just looking to see what this morning is going to give us.
Okay. Hood, MSTR, and HIMS, the only stocks we have left on the list. And my gosh, we are going to have plenty of time to get through all of them. We'll start here with HIMS. This is, oh, I love it when it does this, 13. We had preemptively drawn a potential head and shoulders on HIMS, and it looks like we are trading right up to that area. Stock price here currently at 41.88, just shy of 42. We also had this bottom trend line that we've recently broken above. We'll see where we end up going here on HIMS. They had their earnings, the conference call, their earnings after market today. Mm-hmm. So we will see if this is actually going to complete that head and shoulder. I swear, 13, if this let me ask you a question. If this breaks, if they have a poor earnings report and this breaks down, does this constitute a head and shoulders?
Oh, well, it probably will, but you're going to have to get several days of data for it. Because I don't know that you're going to see a big knife.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right down here, but you could see a systematic sell-off. You're going to get your confirmation once it drops below 24, I think.
Okay.
Now, one thing to keep an eye on a level that I have that I'm watching for is 46. That might be about as high as the right shoulder goes. I don't know. It just depends on how good the earnings are. But when you look at the head of the Head and Shoulders, look at the 46 level and see how that was a big breakout spot. And then once it came back in, it was resistance again as the price was trying to get back up over it. Rejected, hasn't been up there since. So I think 46 is a level I'd be.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Okay. Good stuff there on HIMS. Hood was another one. This is going to be Robinhood. Here's your Robinhood chart. I sure looks like $50 here would be a pretty decent level. We're down 2.5% here in the pre-market. Got that 50-day moving average down here at 43.60. I'm not sure if we see that here today. One of the other levels that I'd be looking at here, 46.5. Breakdown from that. Maybe we'll still see some more downside. And honestly, this $50 level really provided some pretty tough resistance. Would really love to see Hood get above that. Last time we did, we went on a huge pop before pulling back. Also have a potential inverse Head and Shoulders, although I don't think that looks all that great, to be honest. This formation anyway. You got anything here on HIMS?
I think that $50 level is right.
Yeah.
That's going to be the test.
Yeah.
And you know, look at the amount of time it's spent up here trying to get over it. We've been up here for a week, 2 weeks almost. I think that if you don't recapture that 50-day $50 level, it's coming back into the 50-day SMA and maybe even lower. I think that's going to be the big test for Hood, is just to capture and hold above 50. If it does, then I think you see that you see prints over 60, not too far away from that. But
okay,
$50 has to get recaptured.
Okay, sounds good. That's Hood. We are still going to go to MicroStrategy, but I saw Jay bring this up, and I almost, I was traveling yesterday, and I was also recovering a little bit in the morning, so I did not have my full wits about me for following news. And while I was at the airport, I saw a whole bunch of memes and GIFs from the movie The Rock. Now, I love the movie The Rock. Nicolas Cage, I mean, it's wild stuff. I've loved that movie since I was a kid. Sean Connery is one of my favorite actors. Ed Harris does a great job, of course. That movie's awesome. 90s action flick, absolutely love. But I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I saw that Trump tweeted about reopening Alcatraz. I'll just say this right now, where I sit right now, I'm glad he said that, because just seeing all of the Rock memes and GIFs yesterday made it worth it for me. Jay here saying, though, Geo dips probably get bought. Clint Eastwood is back. Alcatraz. Now, this is interesting. I don't know if the Geo group at all has anything to do with Alcatraz, but as far I literally don't know. Because I haven't looked into that. This news is rather fresh. But Jay, I think you bring up an interesting point. Even if there's no actual connection here, we saw G.O. move on the election and more, law and order and putting people in jail and that whole thing. So maybe we do see that here for Alcatraz. I'm not sure how great that relationship is. But I'm glad someone else brought it up here. We will be watching Geo. And Jay, I think just your thought process here, you might be right. And maybe it'll be short-lived, but you might be right here. Dips might get bought, ticker GEO. What do you think, 13?
So Alcatraz is owned by the federal government. So it's essentially federal land. And he's been talking about opening up federal land, not for, imprisoning people, but for, extracting natural resources. Nonetheless, it's still federal land that he's trying to utilize. It's run by the National Park Service, so it's not owned by any particular company. But there you have it, as far as who controls Alcatraz, and it's basically under the administration's management ultimately. So there you go.
Welcome to the Rock, 13. Welcome to the Rock. I mean, it's just I almost couldn't even, but I was like, I can't wait to talk about that on the show tomorrow. Anand here saying, great movie. I'm glad I'm not the only one that really likes some of these cheesy 90 action flicks. I mean, the race in the Ferrari through the streets of San Francisco, the first time I saw that, I was like, this is awesome. I'm with you on that.
You're going to have to tell me what's coming up in chat, because Restream is giving me trouble here. I'm not able to see new posts ever since 8:30. I'm sorry, 8:45. So
I got you.
Okay.
I gotcha. I will read you any of the important posts.
All right.
No problem at all.
Sounds good.
Okay. One more that I wanted to take a look at here, and then we can do whatever you want before the open here. Here's MicroStrategy. So this is at 183 or 183. Come on, Ryan. It's Monday. Just get it together. 383.48. Remember, 383.40 is going to be that really important area of support that we had talked about when this first traded up. It's absolutely now acting as resistance. I understand that we were above this level last week. We're actually pretty much right at it here today. What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin here down 3% here in the pre-market, 94,600 on the futures ticker here. I would imagine MicroStrategy kind of trades with that. It looks to be down about the same amount that Bitcoin is down. So I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary here on MicroStrategy, but be aware, this level that we had flagged before, this 383.40 level, really important, and it looks like it's coming back here today. I think if you wanted to look above that, I think 412 and then maybe this 444. I don't think we're in any danger of printing that level here today, though.
I think we should have an expectation for MSTR to come back into 345. That certainly could happen. If you look at the 345 level, that was that's a resistance area that we've been dealing with ever since the start of the year. We broke over it recently. Now it's support. So if we are going to see some weakness up at this price where we're at, which I think we will, that would be my area of support. Would be that 345 area where we were seeing resistance before we broke out of it in April.
Okay, really good stuff there. All right, folks, we can talk about whatever you want here real quick. Pete is, I like this. Pete says, I love the Buffett headlines. And by the way, Pete, I just got to say this as an aside because Benzinga is my company here. I've been working for them for a long time. You spelling Buffett correct is something that anyone here at BZ double checks their spelling on Buffett, because Jason Rasnick used to go out and if he found that you denied Buffett one of his T's, that was no good. So awesome that you're able to, that you got that spelled correctly here. Bonus points from the Benzinga employees. That's kind of an inside joke.
Mr. Rasnick putting respect on his name before it was popular.
That's right. I like how he says here, shocking exit. The guy is 94 years old. I mean, this is kind of what we talked about at the open. I'm surprised he's still doing anything. You were at that much money and you're that old. I mean, obviously, no offense. I'm surprised he's doing anything. None of us should be shocked. Joe Kernan kind of said the same thing here this morning. I guess the way in which he did it was shocking. Kind of just let everybody know without even discussing it with all of the board members or Greg himself. I think that's the shocking part of it. And Pete, I mean, between you, me, and everyone else here that's watching, we know the media is going to make headlines that are going to make it more elaborate. Shocking that a 94-year-old retired. It is what it is. He's one of the greatest investors of all time.
Were they expecting him to stick around like Munger did?
I don't know.
I mean, that guy, he worked all the way up until his passing. I guess that was what the expectation was. But I think we all expected at some point he was going to step down. I mean, dude lives off See's candy and Coke. I don't know how he does it, but this kind of makes me wonder what's going to be in store for the stock. What's the stock going to do now that Grandpappy Buffett's gone?
Well, of course, Buffett joked that it should do better now that he's not running it, which I think is a very Buffett thing to do. The good news there about that, like all jokes aside, 13, the good news about that, Greg Abel's been there for a long time. This has been the plan for a long time. So I would imagine not a whole lot is going to change. But I did say earlier when I was kind of talking about this story, and this is something that I'd like your help with the record cash hoard that they have now. I think 347 billion was the number that I reported earlier. With that happening now, I mean, especially if the market continues to pull back, like if the bottom's not in and this market pulls back, I really think that one of the things we're going to have to do is come up with possible targets for acquisition, right? What would Berkshire want to buy is the question to throw on the back burner there.
Well, you just got to look at companies that are really hammered down in their valuations, but they still have revenue and they have good cash flow. Those are always going to be the starting points for me, because I know that those are some of the starting points for Berkshire.
Okay. There you go. And we will take a look at that. Okay. All right. I did really quickly want to cover this 13. Nope. This was the wrong one. I don't know. Sorry. I clicked on the wrong link. Let me go back to Pro. I did have a link for what we wanted to. Oh, here. Let me get it. I clicked on the wrong thing here. That was stupid. Here we go. Here were your most searched tickers in Benzinga Pro for April. SPY was number one. I don't think anyone should be confused about that. NVIDIA, Tesla, Qs, AREB. I got to think that our show here probably accounted for a lot of this. Remember, we had AREB running for multiple days.
Sorry,
this is for April. Okay. These were the most searched tickers in order in Benzinga Pro in April here. And we give you a little bit more stuff there. ICCT. Boy, our show's carrying a lot of the water for this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Palantir, Apple, JNVR, another one of the movers that we traded. Newsmax, another one of the movers that we traded. So I want to keep highlighting these because, number one, I want folks to know what other Benzinga Pro members are using. But also, I think that this just tells us that we're over the target here on this show. Whatever it is, whether it's big stocks or smaller stocks, clearly we're looking at the right thing on a day-to-day basis. So you can expect a report like this once a month. 13, if there's ever anything that you think of ahead of time where you're like, I wonder if this is going to show up on the report, happy to take notes on that. We'll check whenever I get
if there's a ticker, and you hold us to this, chat, if there's a ticker on here that shows up that we didn't cover, that's our fault. You tell us, make sure you hold us accountable for any ticker that shows up on this list that we didn't talk about, trade, or cover at all on this show, because we will cover every single one of these before it shows up here on what was the top searched ticker for the month.
Okay.
That's us. We're going to find it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to trade it.
We are going to do it. Okay. That does it here for the news. We covered all of the stocks you folks wanted to see so far. What else?
I'm starting to, it's interesting. I'm starting to get some more of the chat to show up now, but it all says it's showing up at 8:45 and 48 cents, but I'm starting to see some chat. So I'll try to respond if I can, folks, but I'm getting a little bit of a weird situation with Restream today. But it's still working.
I tell you what, I don't like that Restream gives you so much trouble, 13. I wish that they didn't. Anne-Marie, your link there for that report, right there in the chat for you. Happy to give that out on a monthly basis here.
We are getting questions about different tickers here. I just saw we were getting asked about TEM. That's when we were trading last week.
Okay, 13, you're gonna do me a favor here. Here's your TEM daily chart. I'm gonna give you a pretty good time frame here. We've got 3 minutes before the open. I'm gonna be right back before that opening print, okay?
Sounds good. All right, so one of the things we did with TEM here is Tempest AI. We drew a trend line that started from the high of February 27th, drew through the high of March 25th, and just kept that trend going. And it intersected with some of the price action we've been getting here in early May. We just broke over this trend line today, and now the price is above the trend. What we're going to want to see next is the price to hold above, looks like 54.50 or 54.60. We want to see the price hold above that, because if it does, we're going to then we're now on the support side of this trend line. We're going to end up seeing this move up and away from it. The next level to get up to for TEM, 60 looks like the big resistance level on a horizontal basis here. This trend line, breaking that, great. Next level to get above is going to be 60. We get above that, then I'd be looking at about 66.50 as the next resistance area. If you draw horizontal lines at those levels I just mentioned, and you look to the left, you can see how those prices have been resistance previously. And we're testing them again. Once we start closing over these, they're going to be support. This trend line that we broke out of, now we're going to be, we should back test it as support at some point before we make our way back up over the $60 level. So that's the price that I'd be looking for next. We're not extended here on this daily time frame for TEM. I have an RSI of 59.89. That's fine. That means that we can still push higher without it getting too extended. So I really do like 60 in TEM. That's going to be the next test for a breakout for me.
Okay. Did I get the trend line right? It looks like I did based on what you were saying.
Yours is Oh, you started from the 18th, February 18th high.
I just tried based on what you were saying, so I very
Oh,
easily could have done this wrong.
no worries. So the trend line that I drew here, that starts on the February 26th. That high, I started there. And drew it through the March.
You mean March 26th?
No, I started at February 26th, Wednesday, February 26th.
Sorry. I see it.
Yep.
I see it.
Mm-hmm. And then I drew it through the March 25th. And then if you just keep that going, you can see that
Got it.
We attempted in late April to get over it, was rejected, got support from the 50-day and 200-day SMAs. Next attempt broke through it. We're above it now. We're looking at it as support. We want to see 60 get taken out next.
Okay. Real good stuff there. TEM. Okay, we're less than a minute till we open. Let's get this show on the road. Perfect. God, I'm good. I'm happy to be back. Kids is rolling here.
All right.
Kids is rolling earlier. How's GPUS doing? Okay, this is going to be one of our top movers here. G.O.A.T, by the way, looks like the first print there is a little bit higher.
And let's see. So kids is going. 860 is the next level I have. Looks like there could be some resistance at 8 even.
Palantir looks like this is trying to get rolling over the VWAP. I did see an early put sweep here, 70K trade. More put sweep on Palantir.
Kids coming back in now, lost 750. Let's see, IVF not getting going quite yet. AIFF, one of the movers from this morning, that looks like it's trying to get going here.
I'll tell you what, this kids looks like this might try and go here. We'll see.
GPUS, that also might try to get going here.
So this is right above that 15 EMA. I've got about 40 cents till the VWAP there, GPUS. I don't know if I trust that one. Kids coming back into the VWAP.
What are we doing with CEP? That's the one that's getting pumped, right?
Yeah, so here is a look at CEP. So I don't know what you guys are doing with it. I am trying a small short via puts that I put on last week. I've not added to it. I've not peeled any of it. And the strike there is 30. We got 11 days to get back down there. So we'll see if we do. This put is actually up here today pretty nicely. Let's see if we can break the pre-market low here, $41. Get in there, 13.
Kids really coming in. Looks like it could find some support at 720, where it just bounced off of. But if it loses that level, then seems to me like 7 to 685. 685 to $7 might be the next support area.
Okay.
Really coming in with CEP now.
Okay, good. Let that keep coming in. I don't want to get excited and cheerlead it because that's annoying, but hopefully that continues to come back in.
PLRZ, mover from last week, that's going right now.
PLRZ, this is Poly Ryzen. Okay, right. So this did have a, so okay. So real quickly here, pre-market high here, 150, high from the session on Friday, the after-hour session on Friday, 178.
Saw that start to move.
Also, real quick here, sorry, 13, on Palantir, we ran our first of all, got a couple of things here real quickly. Big shout out to keeping it up. We have 252 votes in the poll and only 44 likes. Folks, the likes are the easiest way to help us. So if you think we did a good job, if you think Kevin did a good job last week, if you think my haircut sucks, whatever it is, go ahead and hit that like. That helps us a considerable amount. Help us get at that algorithm. Palantir continuing to fall here. Zcar, you said?
Yeah, Zcar started getting a little bit of a push. It looks like 960 could be the resistance. It was resistance in the pre-market. It was resistance in that area during the regular session on Friday.
Here we go.
So that's the level I'd be watching for.
Kids by the go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say CEP really coming down now. Looks like it's headed to 40.
I'm going to resist the urge to cheerlead that. Really, sorry, 13. Really quickly here, kids, looks like it is trying to go for that 8. It is really struggling with this pre-market high. It got back up there again and immediately got slammed here. I think this almost constitutes a knife. Volume here looking pretty big as well. By the way, on that Palantir earnings poll that we ran earlier here today, first of all, our chat's been awesome at predicting the move so far. Really good track record. Let's see how we do here today. 53% of you said Palantir will act bullish after the earnings. 27% said bearish. 19% said not sure. We're a little bit higher on the not sure there than we normally are. So it looks like there might be a little bit more back and forth on that. But looks like most of you think Palantir higher after the print here today. Palantir coming in a little bit.
Looks like
all right. Now I'm going to check CEP. Hey, let's break that 41 spot, 13.
It's like GPUS is trying to get going here, but it's currently facing a little resistance around the 350 area.
Okay, we still have that VWAP. I've got my VWAP at 367. Sure looks like this is trying to curl and hit that VWAP.
Yeah, MACD looks like it's trying to curl, but I don't know.
Oh, man. Trying. Look at Uber. Power candle here right out of the gate, right at resistance from Friday here. $85 looks to be a pretty key level there from Uber. I am seeing puts get bought into this move on Uber. Not a lot, though.
So, yeah, you got that kind of a double top on CEP when I look at smaller time frames from last week. And now we're really it looks like this could go as low as 36 before it really gets some good support.
Music to my ears, 13. Let's get back in there. AIFF, this was another one from our movers list. This looks like this is breaking down and coming back in.
IVF had a pop up near 240 almost. It looks like 236. Coming back in to test support around 225. It's right there right now. Let's see if it can rebound and take out 240.
IVF, those levels looking pretty good there. Nitto, some of you mentioned this earlier. This is a penny stock here. This actually did have a pretty decent move in the pre-market. This is coming back into VWAP right now.
Wolf showing some interesting activity. That dropped out of the gate here, went down to 445 and bounced. Now it's
is that OLF or ULF?
That's Wolf with an O.
Wolf with okay.
And so it looks like it got some support down there from, looks like the low from the after hour session on Friday. Trying to come back up to the consolidation from the pre-market, and that's going to be from about 470 to 490. You have the consolidation to get through. So it's coming back up to that. We'll see what happens up there.
CEP into a 30 handle. Giddy up. Let's go. That's exactly what we wanted to see here.
Are you short this?
Yes, I have puts on CEP. We took those last week on the show. Took them small.
Gotcha.
Took them small on that huge move up. It was right after I gave Barry props on calling 50. I said, you know what? We've seen a lot of these things really pull back. They have fairly liquid options. We'll take a stab at that. We'll keep the risk well-defined and keep it small. That so far here is working. Ryan Milligan is asking, what are Palantir's previous earnings? Are they beat or are they in line? I love this question, mostly because Benzinga Pro does an amazing job of laying this data out for you. Ryan, it looks like they haven't missed. I don't know. This was in line here on this report here. Let me actually fit all columns here and make this a little bit easier to see. Looks like they were in line here for the Q1 print in, what date is this? Oh, my heavens to Betsy. Looks like that was they were in line here for the May report last year. As far as a miss, I don't have anything. I have a surprise revenue miss, it looks like here, from the fall quarter back in 2023. So it's been a while since they've surprised to the downside.
GPUS with another move up, the new highs now. It's getting pretty close to where it could find some resistance up around 4, but this is still looking pretty good. MACD is curling. Don't know how high this could go on this move. Let me just draw a trend line here.
4 is absolutely the next spot here. We actually found resistance earlier here in the pre-market before busting through that. I've got 4 and 467 as your next upside spots here.
If you here's something that could happen. I'm not going to say it will, but it could happen. If you draw a trend line from the 720 high and up through the 750 high, from the pre-market this morning and keep that trend line going to the upside.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So it's 720. There you go. And just keep that going.
Oh my God. Yep. Sorry.
Okay. So I'm just putting that out there because if we really start to see volume come in and lift this up, it could end up running to the price where this trend line goes up to, which is in the high $6 handle. So almost $7. So it something to keep an eye on.
I guess we are. I mean, I hate to say it, but I guess we already have a stupid level here. Yeah, maybe it's not even all that stupid.
It's silly.
It's silly. Okay, we'll take that. We'll take that. GPUS. Barry says CEP is along at 2025. Well, let's get back down there, and then maybe we can actually reverse this short position too. That would be awesome. Hit it short, then hit it long. That's trading, baby. 37.5 now on CEP. Just as a reminder, those strikes on those shorts 30. So still have a ways to go here. All right, GP, this is continuing. Again, 4 is the next spot here. NITO looks like this is pulling back to the VWAP. AIFF cracked its, couldn't get above its VWAP, then cracked that 15 EMA. Down we go here.
Is he asking me, pumpers are talking about CEP, 13 thoughts. They're pumping it so they can get out of it. They're trying to create liquidity so they can have their orders filled.
So that came from the pre-market. Interesting. So your chat might just be really, really delayed, but still working. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So
got it. That makes more sense.
Am I getting really old stuff here?
Well, Izzy did ask that question of you, which is why I covered it before we opened up here. So maybe that's what's going on. By the way, KIDZ holding here above 7.
I haven't looked at the broader market this morning. How are we looking here?
Broader market is still kind of in that pre-market range here. S&P futures down 0.87%.
Yeah, very much sideways, isn't it?
More Tesla puts getting bought into this down move here on Tesla.
PLRZ looks like it wants to try and go higher, but we need to see some volume expansion in that before it happens.
Nadeem here is asking, is it best to find trades of percent gainers and unusual volume scanners only? No. Just the quick answer to your question, no. One of the things that I'm sharing here and what you see every day is my relative volume scanner, because that's going to produce results no matter what is happening out there. When we have like a bigger macro move that's causing different sectors and things to move down, no, you absolutely can use a different scanner for that. Whatever your style of trading is, whatever your strategy is, use a scanner for that. The reason that I'm using relative volume here is because unusual volume creates outsized moves every single day, no matter what else is going on out there. Tesla continuing to hold 280 here. PLRZ, boy, I'm gonna get this mixed up. This almost feels like one of those ETFs for Palantir, and it's not. It's that Poly Ryzen here. It actually looks like this might challenge 150 here today.
SPY coming down to the low end of the consolidation from the pre-market.
This is that range that we were holding all morning. Wendy's here. This is actually higher. Wendy's actually had some news here today. Wendy's price target was lower, but there was a JP Morgan upgrade that lowered the price. So upgraded to overweight, but lowered the price target to 15. Wendy's holding 2.3% higher here this morning. Looks like 13 might be your next spot there.
Kids.
Sorry, real quickly here. Captain Cloudy going to ring that register. 100% on the Tesla put. Nice down move there. Bought that on Friday. Really good stuff over the weekend.
Yeah, I was just mentioning that Kids was moving back up to where it was before the knife. IVF also trying to go here. It looks like it's going for a break of 240.
Yep.
GPUS. This trying to go higher. Kind of going back and forth in this current candle, but above VWAP. And what else here? So Kids got up to 750 and pulled back a little bit. So some resistance at 750.
Lion says we're printing some great money on those CEP puts. Indeed, no early calls from me until it's closed, though. Some of these smaller option positions that I've taken on some of these extreme movers, I've gotten excited a little bit early, not taking enough gains. Let's see where we're at here on that. Looking ahead here, let's see. The ask on that is 240. I would say if we get near 3, we're going to do our first sale down there or up there. The contract is up, the price is down. You figure it out. You know what I mean. If we get that contract up a little bit more here today, if CEP continues to pull back a little bit more, we'll start thinking about some gains here today just to lock it in and make sure we don't give that back. Nice move here out of the gate so far.
It did go down almost to that $36 handle exactly. That's one of the levels I had here. So that could be getting some support. Let's see if it can recapture VWAP. I currently have that at 39.59. So has some room to go before it does that. So we'll see what we end up getting here.
It looks like it did kind of consolidate anywhere between 30 and 33. So I would imagine even if this continues to drop, that's going to be a fairly firm support area. STFU saying it's got a bear flag here. Again, all of this so far working out. All of it. Pony AI, this was a huge winner from last week. Looks like this is going to gear up again. We kind of put in a double top up here. It was just shy of 12. Pony AI looks like that might be making a run for it. We had a high here of 11 and change. And watch that high from Friday. Again, 1170 and then also 12 there. Ticker PONY. Bull is actually higher here. So this spent all of last week bottoming. Looks like it popped at the end of Friday and it's trying to go higher here on Bull, 1750 to the upside. Smita's asking, it's strong. Are you any thoughts here? Well, we're just kind of trading the trading action here. So far, 1750, 17 to 1750 looks like the next spot here, Smita. I would think that you could probably use some of these levels from its way down. 1850 looks like a fairly decent level. Maybe 2050. So I would say 1750, 1850, and 2050, all going to be some of the key levels there on ticker BULL.
Yeah, everybody's saying that they're just going to be exercising some patience. I think that's a smart move because this market isn't really doing a whole lot except going back and forth. Here's GPUS right back up to where it was before we had that poll. See if we can get over 390. It's still trying to hit that area.
That $4 level is going to be important. I don't think this is done. I think we at least test 4 here today. Kathy, good morning. It's great to see you. If I didn't say good morning to you already, IMMP here, Immunotep. This is a nice move here on some pretty significant volume. They're trading higher after the company provided updates for cohort B of its phase 2B trial. So this popping here on some data.
Keep an eye on GPUS. It's at the session highs.
I'm telling you, 4's coming here. Crow, I know you were calling for this for 4. Do you think this pops through 4? Are you trimming it 4? What's your deal here?
There's 4 and more. A little bit more. Just popped over 4. Kind of trading around that area. And let's look at something else. So KWE, this one that we were looking at this morning, didn't do a whole lot, but it just fell out of consolidation. This could end up going down to maybe $5.
That's KWE that you said, right?
Yeah. Volume's not great either.
Charles Scharf, the Wells Fargo CEO, is on CNBC right now. He's at that the Milken conference.
GPUS. This is not finished. It's
nope. And there we go. So through 4. So first target achieved.
Yep. Looks like 445, 450 is next. That's the next resistance area I see. Then you have the pre-market high of 466. Then after that, the trend line.
See if we get that here. When you say relative volume is just a percent gainer with extra filters like average volume, or does the Benzinga scanner show you all the stocks relative to this? I'm sorry, Nadeem, I don't know what you're asking me, my man. What was that, 13?
Pony. That's just got an impulse move up to where the session, near the session highs. Not there quite yet, but close. Sounds like he was asking if the results of the scanner provide relative volume in some context he was looking for.
So the relative volume is, I think he's asking here, is the relative volume relative to the S&P? No, the relative volume is the volume of that stock. So for example, let's make this a little bit more clear. I apologize for being unclear about this, and I'll use some numbers to help you with this. First of all, the filter that I'm using in the scanner that I'm showing here is RVol 5M30D. This is also the same filter. If you use the day trading preset in Pro, it will have these filters automatically applied. What this is saying in English, Nadeem, that the stock's volume today needs to be 300%, needs to be 3 times the average volume that it does in this 5-minute window if you look back 30 days. So it is, all of these relative volumes are comparing the relative volume of this stock versus that same stock in a different look back period. Let me know if that answers your question. Pony, by the way, we're kind of using it as an example, looks like that might be going for that 1150. And what was that high on Friday? 1170, it looks like.
New session highs. Yeah, 1166. I'm sorry, 68. This looks like it's going to take out 1168. It just seems that way, but we'll see if that ends up happening. It just looks, based on the price action from Friday into today, it looks like it got supported about 1015. Coming off of that, I think it definitely goes up to try and at the very least test 1168, if not break through it.
Uber here, Izzy, you had said Uber boom earlier. I'm actually seeing more Uber call flow into this following this move above 85. Uber does indeed look strong here today.
You know, if GPUS can hold above 385, 390, it might move higher into the fours. It's kind of setting up for that. So we'll see if it can hold that area. CEP new lows.
Mara's pulling back here. They have earnings in 3 days. Did we have any other news here on Mara? Indeed, we did. Mara announces Bitcoin production and mining operations update. Mara announces Bitcoin energized hash rate grew 5.5%, increased its Bitcoin holdings to 48,000, and promptly sold off 9% here today. Bitcoin, it's also worth mentioning, down 3.5%. I got to imagine Mr. or Strategy or MicroStrategy or whatever you call it, also down 4.5% here. So it actually found resistance right at that 380, 340 level, MSTR. GPUS is doing a really good job holding above 4. Yep. Maybe this consolidates and then goes for your trend line 13.
That's kind of what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
Gotta make a little bit of a bull flag here and then break out of that. So we'll see if that's what ends up happening.
Nadeem, you're very welcome. Jane here saying kids and ponies sound like a child's birthday party. Yeah, it does. Let's get some piñata and candy in there and we'll be all right. Robert here mentioning IVF. Did that finally start going?
It's hitting that 240 area.
Yep. And I've got the VWAP slightly above it, 249. By the way, kids here, looks like this is setting a series of lower highs here in the regular session. This is really going to need some volume to pick up, I think, for this to move higher. Maybe put it on the back burner for the afternoon, but so far not looking great here for a long on KIDZ. Yeah,
new lows on SPY for the session.
Did it break out of that channel yet? Here's your CEP. Yes, 34. Kind of. Let's go.
Here we go.
Man, that short was good.
Here we go with GPUS. It's trying to print new highs. It just had a move up to where the highs were. Now it's coming back in. Oh, sneaky, sneaky. Yeah, CEP, that's still breaking down. Let's see, I don't have any levels below 34.50 here. Maybe it goes down to 29.50.
Let's just call that 30 and call it a day because that's where my put strike is, and that'll just make me and my CDO very happy. By the way, go ahead.
GPUS taking off.
Also, really quick, you folks were talking about the tariff stuff there on movies. Disney here, totally bouncing back after that sympathy move down. Netflix here, that was the big one that's affected. This is already getting bought back. I wonder if Netflix flashes a red to green here. Someone was asking about what we thought here. It does kind of feel like a buying opportunity on that. The car is halted to the upside. It is leaving the garage. Crow.
That's what happens when you put gas in the Z tank. Oh wow, $10 exactly, almost. Oh, here you go. 10:01. That's the high that's halted at.
Jay mentioned. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
Jay mentioning the trade desk, and that catches my eye because we've been talking about the trade desk recently. Boy, oh boy, sure looks like we bottomed here, doesn't it? Here's what it looks like on that daily. Here's the trend. 13. I'm pretty sure that you had me draw this trend line. I know I drew one from Mark, but I'm pretty sure this one was yours.
Yeah.
Trade desk here.
A bit of inverse head and shoulders almost.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Trade desk, I really think this could get rocking if we get above 60. You know, now you've got me thinking about maybe a potential trade here.
Well, look at
some options on the trade desk.
Look at, I think it's 61.50 or 62. That horizontal line there, that's the resistance to get over, because if you look to the left, back in December of 2023, or basically 2023 and before, that was a support area. Now we're testing it as resistance, so we need to break back above that. That'd be the big level for me.
Okay. Good stuff there. Lion here saying, Ryan, I'm going to take some profit on the CEP puts. I'm going to keep a few contracts to run into next week. Lion, I think that this is very, very well done. Lion, confirm you have the May contract, right? The one that expires in 11 days here. Just so I'm clear on that. We are almost there. $3 is where I'd like to take some gain here on the first tranche. I've got an ask of 265. So see if we can get one more downdraft here in CEP, and I think we'll be able to start closing some of those out.
GPUS went up to 494 before it pulled. It's still holding above 4, but we are coming back down for what looks to be a VWAP test. KWE doing nothing still. IVF trying to push through that same level that we were looking at a moment ago when it was getting some movement. It needs to get over 250. There's a lot of seller concentration right there from about 247 to 250. Taking it out.
That's IVF, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's trying to take it out right now. Now, if we can't, and it starts to result in some upper shadows, that would be a signal to maybe reduce your risk or to not try this anymore. So we'll see if we end up getting that here. Still trying to push up though.
Lion is saying yes. So Lion, you are in those May contracts. So we're going to have to make a decision here. This is a short-term trade based solely on the instrument that we chose. That's really good. Trout Bum says 22% profit on GPUS going fishing. Who's surprised that Trout Bum is going fishing? I know I'm not. Let me tell you, the golf that I was doing was in the Branson area, and there was a fishing tournament going on. And in the morning, from the place that I was staying at, I could see the entire lake, and I watched these guys in these fishing boats zip around. It was awesome. Enjoy your fishing.
Real quick, Bitcoin is bouncing off of a support level.
Yes, it is on volume 13.
Yeah, it got down. So 93,500 was the support level that I have drawn here. We hit that early in the, it looks like late last night. We hit it. Now we've come down and hit it again. This looks kind of bearish to me. I think that that Bitcoin might lose the 93.5 level. If it cannot get back above 94,008. Gosh.
I've got it at 94,005 on the futures. This is still a green power candle here on volume. MicroStrategy following it, although lagging behind a little bit. The move in Bitcoin's much higher. Mara might be curling a little bit on this Bitcoin move.
Yeah, so I'm going to wait and see if with Bitcoin here, if we have a potential breakdown coming, or if this is a double bottom that we're looking at here. Just not sure yet. Need to see what happens with 94.8.
Trout Bum says, I live in the Branson area. That is where I fish. That is awesome. Trout Bum, this was my first trip to the Branson area. I got to say, Branson, Missouri is beautiful. You should see some of the pictures I took. Absolutely beautiful. Trout Bum, you live in a really awesome corner of the world. Enjoy. Lion here saying about TDD. Why do I keep screwing that up? It's because of PDD. TTD, the trade desk. I sold a few puts last week for a great premium, and I'm up nicely. I sold puts just because this market is still weak, and my tank is even more. Your tank is even more weak? I'm not sure what you mean.
Gotta avoid those weak tanks.
Hey, I like to just avoid weakness in general.
Russia
Look at your GPUS. Look at your GPUS. This pushed up almost towards 513. I'm going to say this right now. I don't think your trend line is out of the question.
It's certainly looking like it's possible.
I think we might actually challenge that here today.
It's certainly looking like it's possible. And every time that another 5-minute candle prints, we're looking at a higher potential resistance area as the trend line goes up. So at this stage, if it's going to test that trend line, we're already looking at $7 plus.
Okay. Trout Bum, let me know if you've heard of a restaurant called Capone's. We had dinner there on Saturday night, and it was awesome. Awesome. Speakeasy vibes. They're all wearing fedoras. Best steak in Branson, they say.
All right.
IVF rejected at its VWAP. That was a nice little curl back to its VWAP, but it rejected there. GPUS, the opposite, busted through it and actually might have some more strength here. Zcar with full of Z gas and out of Z garage going higher here. Looks like 11 is some resistance right there.
IVF, if this current candle right here prints another long wick on the top of it, I think that's going to be a signal to maybe consider lightening your risk on IVF. I don't like to see a series of upper shadows, and we're starting to get that here with the last 2 5-minute candles we got in IVF. So waiting to see what we get out of this third one. If it takes those prints out, or if we get another upper shadow that indicates it could go lower. And that's nice. Looks like some of these space stocks are doing pretty good this morning. A lot of them.
You got one that's outperforming. How's Redwire doing?
It's down today, but there a lot of these on Friday. A lot of these names were rallying. So
actually, that Redwire daily chart doesn't look terrible right there either.
No, these look. Redwire looks not too bad. Let me see here. I also have IRDM. That's not looking too bad either. I'm waiting for Siri to break the downtrend. Some of them are looking really good.
IRDM actually looks like this might try to go higher. Kids, by the way, KIDZ, this is still consolidating here. It actually just lost 7.
Kids lost 7, you said?
KIDZ, yeah, trading beneath 7 here.
Okay, yep. Yes, it is.
So what else do we got? Tesla might be bouncing a little.
Looks like 675. Maybe just slightly beneath that. That could be a support area for kids. Let's see if it ends up getting that. If you look at the price action in the pre-market, that was the resistance before we got this impulse move that broke through it. Now we're testing it as support. So we'll see if we end up getting that support. Kids.
Let's see how we're doing here on Palantir options. I did say I wanted to take a look at some of the option flow here today. I'll be honest, we're seeing some in here, not crazy. There was nearly a $900,000 130 call buy that expires this week. Looks like that is a short-term bullish bet. Seeing some other put flow in here. Palantir.
GPUS, that had a pretty significant pull here. It's still trading above 4, but we're closer to the VWAP. Gotta hold that, or it might not get up to that crazy trend line that I drew earlier. And IVF trying to go higher here. This, I think, could be the test of whether or not we're going to get upper shadows or a breakout.
Market is trying to go higher here, folks. SPY, after that little dip head fake, trading higher here. I really, a red-green move on SPY would be pretty good.
Something's happening with Sirius XM. It's going on a little bit of a move here. Not sure on what. I don't see any news, but it had it just ran right up to some of Friday's highs. So I'm not sure what this is all about, why it's moving up to that particular area.
Real quickly here, someone asked about Tyson earlier, said Ryan just came back from Northwest Arkansas and is not talking about Tyson.
Oh.
So one of the reasons that I go to Northwest Arkansas is because my good friend used to work for Tyson, and I emphasize used to, doesn't anymore. So I didn't even discuss Tyson other than him saying, I don't want to talk about Tyson. So it looks like, let's just say this. They're trading down because they're missing my buddy. How about that? Tyson here down 8.2% on a move down here. I didn't have any feel on this going into this one. I do think there is some pretty decent support around this mid 50 handle. So maybe 54, 53. This might actually be a potential buying area here for Tyson. No position myself, though.
I'm still holding on to my long-term position.
Do you have any long-term targets with this? I know we had a pretty wild broadening formation on this that looked like it was holding up for a while.
It's still in there. Let's see. If we're going to get support, I think maybe $54 might be good. If you look at the daily chart, $54 was providing support back in June of 24 and January of this year. So I'd be looking at 54 for the for support area.
Okay. Tesla showing a lot of strength. Is that turning around? You know, Chris, earlier you were talking about Apple with the market turning around here. I mean, I guess we'll need to see if this continues. Market spiked a little bit there and then came off the highs. Chris, to your point here about Apple, this actually might be a fairly decent trade here today if that market turns around. And then you might get some more continuation on this Tesla turnaround if that holds up here. Tesla pretty much right down to what? The lows from Thursday? Yep, lows from Thursday there.
Just looking at some of these. If you want, I mean, if you're talking about, I think some folks are talking about kids. There's a trend line here that you could draw for KIDZ if you want to try and do that.
Might as well. Let's trend it up.
It's got the task of trying to recapture the VWAP that it's got to do first, but almost pretty soon VWAP and this trend line are going to coexist.
Am I about on?
Oh, I was just looking at just the 5 minute and the price action from just before the open. But you have a really big one, which is also valid.
But this is basically the trend that you're talking about. So, okay, well, I'm going to leave this on here. We'll see if we end up taking that out. Lion here saying, I'll be interested if Tyson goes to 50. TrueMed is asking, hey, 13, what do you think about SQQQ? So that's been our bread and butter trade here, SQQQ/TQQQ. My thought here is that we're not far enough from the VWAP. But 13, if you want to
let's see,
give a shout on that.
It looked like for a moment we may have been. What is this? That was I mean, that was kind of close. We're going to drop down to 28.92. Yeah. So it looks like that drop was the area to buy, because now it's ripping and trying to get over VWAP. So we'll see if it can do that. I don't know what else I can add, except I think that opportunity was just about 5 minutes ago to jump into it. We'll see if this it ends up breaking up through VWAP. Because here's the other thing: there's a lot of consolidation that has to get through once it does get above VWAP, and that's going to be from like 29.30 to 29.53. So that 20-cent range there, lots of consolidation from the pre-market is going to have to deal with.
Okay.
IVF still trying to take out those highs in the regular session. Didn't get quite the upper shadow that we were looking for from this third candle. So may still be able to get going here, but I don't like the way this volume looks. GPUS still hanging in there as well. That has not lost its VWAP either, but it is losing its volume as well. CEP new low 33.30.
Giddy up. And actually, you know what? The ask on the contract is 3. Let me set a trade here. We're going to close half here at 3. All right. Not filled yet. I'll let you know if it does.
Now, Z-Car would be one that I'd be careful with at this stage. Volume's starting to go down. I don't like these dojis. It's starting to print up here. This could be a topping out formation. I'd be very careful with Z-Car at this stage. If you were in this when it was under 10, I think you did really well. Maybe come up with some kind of a strategy to wind up this trade, because it's looking like it could weaken. I don't want to tell you how to trade. This might even go up higher, but for me, it doesn't look like it's going to do that right now.
All right, filled partial. So we are out partial of CEP. That's nice. A done deal. Can't even lose on the rest of this. We'll make sure that we set a stop here around $2 on this contract. But like Lions, strategy-wise, we'll carry a little bit of this further.
Some stuff's trying to bounce here. Let's see what the SPY is telling me.
SPY's trying to push higher here.
Yeah, we're out of that consolidation, or we were. I think the very early morning hours still counts, and that means we still have a bit of a ways to go.
I want to take a question here from Mike. Mike Sulikov. Mike, this is a good one, and I can really appreciate this because this is not a stock that we often look at here. Mike is saying here, I'm in on WTFC, which is Wintrust Financial. It's kind of a boring stock. However, it's thinking it's a long-term hold. Thoughts? Okay, I'll give you my thoughts here. I'm very familiar with Wintrust. This is a mid-sized community bank here in the Chicagoland region. And I've never had an account myself, but I've known a bunch of people that currently have their accounts at Wintrust. They speak very, very highly of this. They advertise for this bank a lot here. I agree with you. Those bank stocks are likely boring. Wintrust assets here are great. I would really like to ask Tim to see if he has any insight here that I don't know about. But Mike, my feeling here on Wintrust is that if this is a long-term hold, which it sounds like it is, you're thinking a long-term hold here, I think that this is probably a good add on Dipson. This is an extremely strong bank. They do a great job. They have an excellent reputation, at least in the area that I live around here. And I'm pretty sure that they pay a pretty decent dividend here. It's not that high, 1.35%.
It's okay. I mean, they're paying something.
Hey, you're in good company, Mike. Anne Marie says, I'm very bullish on Wintrust. Anne Marie, any other insight that you can give here, trade-wise, level-wise, or otherwise? Would love to hear that. But yeah, Wintrust, like I said, I don't own the stock, full disclosure, and I don't actually have the product, but the reputation here, one of the better ones, honestly. And people love to hate on banks. I don't hear a lot of that out of Wintrust at all.
Yeah, the bullish on rates.
Hubs used to be the CIO before he retired, but that bank has a very strong balance sheet. Oh, I love it when Anne Marie comes in and says that the stuff that I'm saying is true. I actually had no idea your husband was the CIO there. That's awesome. And hopefully he's enjoying his retirement. But again, larger part here. This is a great bank. It is very, very well run. It is very, very well operated. Balance sheet here, super strong. So Mike, I think you're in a good one. You're welcome, Mike. Good stuff. And I love talking about tickers that we don't often look at here. I'm always up for broadening the horizons for everybody. Okay, what do we got?
Looks like GPUS is facing a test of the VWAP right now. It's going to have to move off this level if we're going to remain bullish.
Jay says CEP is down 31% here. Jay, yes, it is 32% now. And Jay, you should be proud. I know that you are often reminding the group here that, hey, some of these big movers that we trade to the upside, a lot of the times they like to be right back to where they started or back down several days later. Well, that is the only thesis for this trade is, wow, we moved too high too fast. It's probably going to do a pullback. Let's do it with some well-defined risk here. And it is paying.
Yeah, so why are those pumpers pumping the stock? Because they're trying to get out of it.
That's what you said earlier there. Yeah, Emery, yes, your husband is enjoying his retirement. Good stuff. Good stuff there. Jay saying CEP did buy puts, but did sell a few call spreads. Like the strategy better as puts were very expensive. They were. But you know what, Jay? It's working for us now because now we're on the backside of that move, and that implied volatility is our friend. We are jacking. Oh, my God. I just sold some at 3. The ask is 4.
Dang.
We're good. That moved fast. Let's see. Tell you what, we might go under 30 here. That would be something.
Yeah, we're looking for 29.50.
Oh man, I would love that. Pumpers were wrong on CEP, indeed, and it won't be the last time pumpers are wrong.
I don't think they were wrong. I really don't. I think they were just.
You think they were nefarious?
I think they were nefarious. This is something that we've observed many times before. You go into a room that's pumping a stock, so they can get everybody to buy it up and create this liquidity, so that they can sell you the shares that they have. They're trying to get buyers. That's what some of these rooms do.
Yep.
So it wouldn't surprise me that they were pumping up that stock so that they could get the liquidity to make an exit.
And really quickly, I just want to use this time to promote two things. Number one, you'll notice that that's not what we do here. So even if we're talking about some of the same stocks, we have an entirely different way that we're approaching this, which I think is really smart. And we're going to keep doing that here. Also, hit that like and subscribe for Anne-Marie 13 and everyone else continuing to bring you great information on a jam-packed day. Yeah.
IVF, that moved higher. That broke out of that area. Took out the candles that were looking like they were creating a bit of a upper shadow, a series of upper shadows. Took that out. Now we're moving higher. Looking for 285 next.
285 and then 305 after that. 13.
That's it.
Mazrur is asking here, what do you say about Nido? You know what I say about it. It's a penny stock, so I'm staying away from it. We had a pretty nice move there in the pre-market. The volume kind of died off a little bit post the open here. This thing came back in. It is sitting right at the VWAP though. So I mean, just kind of looking at this, this is probably just moving on. I don't want to call them pumpers because I don't have any information about that, but this is probably moving on some of these short-term momentum traders here. Watch this through the VWAP. This is a no trade for me. I keep my hands clear of this.
Looks like GPUS is still trying to go higher. Has to push over 430. There's some sellers up there. Volume is also waning. Sorry, I'm not sure how up to the minute my chat is, but they're getting mentions of kids and what else here? AIFF.
Yeah, I think that's old.
Yeah, it must be old.
Yeah, because we took a look at AIFF earlier. You know, this GPUS here, 13, it actually looked like that was flashing a potential curl there.
Mm-hmm.
It does that.
It's pretty close to its VWAP, so it's and it was testing it earlier as support. So if it continues to provide support, it still could come back up here, but volume is not great.
13, just kind of looking ahead here. I'm sorry for a little bit of a digression, but I talked about this a little bit earlier. What are you thinking for the Fed meeting here today? Or excuse me, not here today, this week.
In terms of?
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen? Market reaction? Do you have any gut feeling about anything? Maybe even the tone?
Oh, well, so
anything.
I think that we're not going to get a rate decision. It's going to just be the same. Rates are going to stay the same. Probably not going to get any rate decisions until the second half of the year. I think I'd be paying attention to what Powell's comments are. After the rate decision and in the days coming up here. See if he strikes a more hawkish or dovish tone. I'm starting to think he may sound more dovish. Okay. It might be this meeting where he does, or the next one, but I don't believe we're going to see any rate cuts happen quite yet. Now, with all the rhetoric that's been going on between him and Trump, I tend to think that the market is, well, I don't want to say they're expecting rate cuts because I think that'd be silly. I don't think that they're expecting rate cuts, but I think that they're going to be really paying attention to Powell's comments. See what he's have to say about.
You know who else is going to be paying attention to Powell's comments?
Who's that?
The Contra folk, you and me. Because this is what we've got going for the Fed meeting here. 13 and Ryan, we're going to be out here waiting on Jay Powell. I just got to say, massive shout out to our producer. Contra was a game that I grew up on playing. And when I saw this, I just about jumped out of my seat. So we're going to be ready for that. Producer, you're the man.
What was your favorite power up?
The spray.
Yeah, the spray is the best one.
Spray for sure.
Gotta hit all those guys. Gotta hit them all.
Crow loved it. That was a really good one. Look, producer did a really good job with the Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol one with me scaling the building, but that Contra one was just.
These memes create themselves sometimes.
By the way, we were talking a little bit about Tesla. You guys had mentioned Tesla returned back to the lows. One of the things that I had said here is that Tesla was curling, and it might continue that curl if the market kept turning up, but it didn't. Tesla got absolutely ripped. However, Chris's Apple trade, Chris, really good job. Seems like you added that near the dead bottom. Apple here looks like it's curling a little bit.
We got the manufacturing data and the PMI, and ever since then the market's been trying to come back up here. You seeing this?
So I'm sorry, I was going.
We got the PMI data, and it's ever since we got that, it's been helping the SPY push higher. 565 and 16 cents is the next previous all-time high. That could be a resistance level here. If you look to the left, it was a resistance area before it pushed through in the regular session on Friday last week.
Here you go. Here is your PMI data. U.S. S&P Global Services PMI for April 50.8 versus the 51.4 estimate.
Yep.
ISM non-manufacturing PMI for April 51.6 versus the 50.2 estimate. Market is higher. Yep. That data.
Yes, sir. So just waiting to see what GPUS is going to do. AIFF, that continues to trend lower. IVF, that went up to that 285. Almost got to, did we actually get to 3? We certainly did. 3 exactly for IVF. Looking for 309 or more. That would be the pre-market high. So if it does break that, I'd be thinking that 365 might be the next area that could run up to.
Okay. IMPP looks like that 220 was your double top there on IMPP. GPUS, this is in off that $5 print that we got higher. Looks like Weight Watchers. This is a penny stock. This having a nice day.
Is it now?
I mean, it's up 25%.
It is. That's an interesting formation. If you look on the daily, it had that move all the way up to the 200-day SMA. Rejected, came back in, looking at support from this consolidation that starts from early March to the early April. That could be support in addition to the 50-day SMA. Let's see if this takes out the 200-day SMA next. Lots of consolidation when you look to the left on this stock, by the way.
PLRZ, this is one that we talked about from earlier. This traded up to 150 and got mutumboed. It is down now. That actually might be done.
Mutumboed. That's never not going to be funny. IVF pulled hard.
For anyone that grew up at that period of basketball, too, you knew Dikembe Mutombo, even if it wasn't your team.
And here goes GPUS. Got to take out this 430 seller. Just did. Trying to go higher.
This is trying to curl.
Looking pretty snazzy.
Alston asking about AMD. So AMD here, this is actually up 2.25% here today. The good news here about AMD is we would love to close above this 50. Mm-hmm. We were kind of battling with this 50 recently. Now we're moving above it here. This actually looks pretty good. What do you think, 13?
Yeah, I like AMD. I started buying this a little while back when it was getting hammered. I own it, so this is going to be another long-term hold for me. Some of these semi names were really getting discounted pretty heavily, so took opportunity to pick up AMD and Broadcom. Still have some Intel, so
maybe $100 is that near-term bottom on AMD. AWE.
This thing went all the way down to 76.48. I don't know that we'll see that price again unless the market just absolutely gets destroyed. I think the next big resistance area that I'd be keeping an eye on is going to be at about 115, 116. If you draw a horizontal line there, I think you'll see what I'm talking about.
Here, let me go back to the AMD chart. Sorry. You said 114, 115 horizontal line?
Yeah, 115, 116, that area right in there. I think that was the most recent
Yep.
resistance area that we had this year.
And this actually goes all the way back to, I think, 2021. It looks like that level. Yep.
So I think that would be the next big area I'm watching for. Maybe also 106, 107, but I think the bigger one to watch for is that 115, 116 area.
Okay. Good stuff there. GPUS, this going for 5 right now, folks. I am not in this.
Yep.
I stayed away from this here today, but this one's going.
Oh man, if it goes to that trend line.
If it goes to that trend line, look, I'm just going to, we got to come up. You're like a trend line master, trend line savant, trend something. We'll come up with something. Because the trend lines are so crispy. They've been so good.
I just can't think it's anything else other than, a lot of algos just, running.
Or a lot of other traders, looking at something similar. Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, got to get over 5 if we're going to end up seeing the top of that trend line, or that top of getting up to that trend line that we were looking at. Now it's looking to be about, it's going to be over 750 if the price does run up there. So it's,
the longer it takes, the higher that price is going to be. That's something else to consider here. That was a pretty steep trend line to begin with.
Yes, sir.
Apple, by the way, reversed that little curl there. Apple smashed to the lows. CEP looks like that tried to bounce here, but the pumpers were unsuccessful. CEP down 32.5% here. Boy, oh boy, this was awesome.
Yeah, I think that you are starting to see a little bit of consolidation here. Just looking at the sideways action we're getting from the price, that low 31.10, that was about 10, 15 minutes ago, and we've had sideways prints ever since. Also, you have the MACD that's starting to show signs of curling, but it hasn't crossed yet. So let's just wait and see what we end up getting here. Still targeting 29.50 as the bottom for CEP.
And the best part here about the trading action is that part of the gains have already been taken. It's going to be easier to hold on to that. What do you think of this? Fog. I love this here. Fog saying the Leonardo da Vinci of trendline. I mean, that's pretty good. That's high praise right there. Oh my God, Jay Wild, the Slope Slayer.
Jeez.
Dude, the next time I need a nickname for anything, I'm coming to this group and we're going to spitball some nicknames for things. Oh, by the way, Jay Rice, if you're still out there, I used your mother-in-law comment on one of my golf rounds, and I happened to be staying with the mother and father-in-law of my best friend. The joke was met with some immediate laughs and then a maybe, this wasn't the trip for that. It was all in good fun and all in private, but I tested that one out here, Jay. It tested well. We'll just put it that way. CEP break lower here into a 30 handle now. Let's see if we can snap into the 29 handle and get 13's 29.50 print.
That'd be cool. And
Slope Slayer for the win. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's money. That's money.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what we end up getting out of.
I haven't even checked the Twitter streets yet today.
I'm kind of wondering if we're going to come up to another 564 in the SPY. That was where the highs were on Thursday, and we're kind of trading up to that and seeing a little resistance in that area. So I'm wondering if that's the high that we get today. Waiting to see if this the price pulls off of that and starts trading lower.
You were saying 565?
No, 564. 564 and 7 cents was the high from Thursday.
Okay.
And we're right there.
Yep, we're right there.
Yep. Right now. So waiting to see if we end up trading over that or not.
Jay, I don't know what that is, and I'm not going to repeat it just for the sake of this being a family show. What I will say though is that I should have called the cops, honestly. I should have called the cops because there were a number of holes where I just got robbed. I mean, that thing lipped out like it was a crime. I must have left 4 or 5 strokes on lip outs alone in one of my rounds there.
We are getting a lot of whipping around in GPUS, but it looks like it's gonna try and break out pretty soon.
God, if this goes to your,
if it goes there, it'd be silly.
I mean, I'm going to be happy. Don't get it twisted here. I'm going to be happy. It's just the quality of that and the frequency at which it goes to those. Rich Tech Robotics, RR here. This was higher. I actually didn't see any news earlier. Let me check and see if I missed anything. Nope, still no news on that. We talked about automation recently as just kind of a theme here. Some of the smaller names, RR and Serve. I just kind of noticed it on the scanner there. Don't really see anything going on. Lyft, this might be moving in sympathy with Uber, right? Because that's still booming here today.
Yeah,
Uber actually off its highs, but yeah.
Robotics still a theme I think we're going to see throughout the year.
I agree with you.
Really don't know.
I'm going to leave GPUS here because it looks like it's going for 5 as we speak. There it is. Oh, my God.
523 did hit that and pulled back right beneath 5. Now it's back over it. Let's see what. Let's just watch what happens here because I don't think I'd want to chase this. Traded it earlier this morning. That was fun, but I I tend not to lean too heavily on these dumb levels because some I think we've observed about half the time they go up there, half the time they don't. So we'll see what we get.
The 7-figure wannabe. The ball didn't want to go to its home, Ryan. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. And that actually brings me to a second question here. 7-figure wannabe, because you're obviously referencing Happy Gilmore. When is Happy Gilmore 2 coming? Because I am ready for that. And if they ruin that movie, they better not.
You kind of have to expect that they will.
Real quickly here, before I think about that negative stuff, Crow out of GPUS, great trade there, Crow, this morning. Great job.
It's just the cycle Hollywood's in right now. Destroy all the beloved IP we once had. Can't come up with anything new. We have to keep making remakes.
Speaking of that, and I'm pardon me because I'm going off of memory here. I did see that Sinners was a pretty big box office hit. I think that film had a budget of 90 million and I think did like 200 and something million in its opening weekend.
Pretty incredible when you have a new idea, huh?
Well, I was going to say that what's amazing about that doesn't seem like it was copied off of anything.
It wasn't.
Here, let me. What?
It wasn't. Kids, man, this thing really got hammered. I wasn't paying attention to this, but this thing got slapped.
Rotten Tomatoes has Sinners with a 97% audience score match. I'm just, the reason I'm bringing this up, 13, is because I think you're onto something here. Just as like all the politics removed, all of the movie titles removed, the whole 9 yards. I really think it's coming down to, is there something that's original or not? And if not, you're seeing muted results from a lot of this. And if it's something new and cool, consumers will still go see it.
Yeah, if these Disney remakes were actually good, people would want more of them. But they're, these producers are trying to inject their own personal baggage into these films that nobody really wants to deal with.
Yeah.
So they're not doing well at all. And then you hire actresses that really don't do well with PR, and you have these box office bombs like Snow White.
Yeah. Sorry, just thinking out loud here, comparing it to Sinners, I didn't do anything other than see a couple of previews for it. It took me until last week to realize that Josh Allen's new wife is one of the actresses in that movie. There just wasn't a whole lot of this hype for it, and it ended up being good, I guess. I didn't see it, but in any case. Sean says July, I think, for Happy Gilmore. How am I supposed to chip? I could probably do the entire Happy Gilmore movie. Just quoting it. I won't bore you guys with that, but hey, if it's in July, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's it makes me wonder, like, how are they gonna make it good when a lot of those actors that were in the first one are no longer with us?
Especially Chubbs. I mean, he got eaten in the first one. Like, is he going to come back as a ghost, like an Obi-Wan apparition? I don't know. Z-Car, new highs here today. Also, volume expanding again. 13, I'm sorry.
Carl Weathers is also dead.
Yes. So I guess he's not coming back as an apparition unless it's a real one.
Right. So, and it's that it's Bob Barker was in it, so he won't be remember in that golf scene we won't have that. The grandma won't be in it. I don't know. I mean, we'll probably see Shooter McGavin and whatever.
Oh, well, we better see Shooter McGavin.
Yeah.
I had to hit the ball off Frankenstein's fat foot. Okay.
Oh, we need to have him back.
Oh yeah.
With the nail removed.
Yeah.
Some continuity would be great.
Ryan says the one film I think they should remake is The Truman Show. That could be a good modern day adaptation. Ryan, I think you might be onto something there. There are some people that say we are in The Truman Show right now.
And watch Jim Carrey's character be a producer for the next show. That would just be weird. GPUS is what is it doing now?
I'm watching Z-Car print some new highs here.
I got to stop looking at the chat thinking I'm getting an updated post here.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not doing a really good job updating you either.
It's okay. It's all good. Oh yeah.
I think we'd see some new folks in Happy Gilmore. I would too, and I would just hope that they'd be. I would just hope they'd be well done. Maybe the moving guys will come back. Maybe they're fans of Happy Gilmore now. That would be something. Anyway, all right. Let's see if there's anything else out there. I haven't really seen anything. And let me just check in on those Palantir. There is nothing that's really stood out here on Palantir other than that one early call buy, that 130 call that expires this week. That was bought in size, nearly $1 million on that one trade. Otherwise, it's kind of been calls and puts. Nothing here really crazy.
Z-Car still pushing higher. 1239 new high now. That is wild. So let's see this get up to 1320. It's the next area I think I mark off here. Somewhere between 13 and 1320. What else do we got? What's Bitcoin doing now? So we tried to get back over at 94,500 consolidation. Couldn't do it. We're coming back in. This looks like we could end up losing that 93.5 level Bitcoin.
Okay. Jay here saying Caddyshack 2, the worst sequel ever. I got to agree with that. I mean, that was...
Which one?
Caddyshack 2.
Oh.
For Caddyshack just being such an unbelievable cult classic, Caddyshack 2, you want to talk about a letdown. My goodness. My goodness. Z-Car right at that pre-market high level. I've got that at 1250. I think that's definitely in the cards here. Let me see anything else here. SPY's kind of locked right here. It's not really doing much. Gosh, thankfully we had the CEP trade carry over. Otherwise, I wouldn't have much going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, the high print of the pre-market when we opened at 4 a.m., that was 564.49. The highest print we've had today is 564.29. So 20 cents shy of that pre-market high. Still basically within the entire pre-market consolidation. That's going to be from let's see what's the price here. So 561.70, that's the low, all the way up to 564.49. That's the high. So that range there is where the price has been in the entire day. And until we break out of that range, this is where we're going to be.
That penny stock Nitto did nothing after the open. IVF back down to the 243 support. We're actually beneath VWAP there. That's just kind of bouncing back between some of these areas that we had identified the last time this thing moved. Chris is asking, the Top Gun sequel, is it any good? It's on Paramount. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I don't think it's as good as Top Gun 1, but it wasn't a complete butchering of the film. I thought it was fun.
The thing that blew my mind was that I think it won an Academy Award for sound design, and the sound is awful. Actually, they got the guns wrong. They got the aircraft sounds wrong. They got everything wrong. I don't know how they won that.
Wow, that I didn't know. Sorry, just taking another quick look here at some of the earnings here today. Looks like we also going to get Ford here tonight And then Vertex Pharmaceuticals, that's VRTX, is it not?
I think so.
Yes, it is. Had a pretty good trade on Vertex the last time this thing, at the beginning of April here, where this thing dipped down to this 450 area.
Wolf with a commanding rebound.
That's the WOLF, right?
Yep. Coming right back up to VWAP. Don't know if GPUS is done yet. Got a couple of red candles, but it's showing signs of support. Maybe one more candle and we'll get a good move here. Looks like a SPY trying to push over the pre-market high. Did it do it?
I believe that it did. Let me bring the chart up here.
I think it's 5 cents short.
Oh, yes. This opening candle right here. Yes, you were right.
I think it's just 5 cents short, but we're getting close there. So if we start moving over that, then I think that might be the direction we could end up taking here. There's a lot of consolidation the higher we go. Let's look at what Friday was giving us. You can see that there's going to be a lot of challenges for the price to maintain this upside.
Real quick here. TGTX, TG Therapeutics shares are trading lower after the company reported worse than expected Q1 EPS results. Anyone got this on watch here for a potential bottom out after these poor earnings? This thing has been on a huge run recently. You can see the last time this thing really pulls back sharply, ends up getting bought back. Part of me wonders here if there's a trade, TGTX, maybe 34, 35. Stock is down almost 15% here today.
Kids went all the way down to 556, rebounded, is trading back up at 615 is the price right now. Recaptured that $6 level. A lot of resistance in the wave in order to get back above this. You're going to probably see that happen around 625, 630.
Jabez is asking, can anyone advise a new member how to get started here? It depends what you're a new member of. If you're a new member of this stream, you've already gotten started. We're going to break down the market news and what's happening every morning prior to the open, and then we're going to trade with you. There's nothing that you have to do. If you have questions about certain stocks, go ahead and ask. We've got a great group here. It's not just me and 13, it's everyone else here. You start by participating. The way that you can get started right now, hit that like and subscribe button. That would be the perfect way to get started. If you want to use the tools that we're using here, the link is in the description for that. I can also have James from our onboarding team reach out to you. He does a great job of hunting deals down and giving you the best possible price. So Jabez, you let me know what it is you're looking to get started here, and we can help, whether it's me or someone else in the group.
GPUs, that's pushing up now, trying to take out 5, maybe even the 529 high that we were.
Look at this dip and rip. What dirtiness that is.
I don't have that wick on mine. Is that a phantom wick or?
Maybe. Let me check my broker. Let me bench that against my broker here. I got the same wick in Thinkorswim. That dropped beneath the VWAP. Went. Yep. This is the exact same here. Low. The exact low 371. Exact low on my broker 371.
That's crazy. I don't have that here in level. But it's looking like things are starting to recover. I mean, the market it did make a new high, by the way. We broke out of that consolidation. Next resistance area is going to be 565 and 16 cents. That's a previous all-time high. Lots of names are starting to get some strength here and a little bit of volume. GPUs looking pretty good. Sellers at 520. Well, he was there.
Jabez, let me give you James's contact info. I will also let him know that you're looking to talk to him. Please keep in mind, if all I have is your YouTube handle, I don't give James enough information to reach out to you. So I just threw James's name, direct phone number, and direct email in the chat. Be sure to reach out to him. You should be able to talk to him today about that. Thanks for asking, and thanks for being here. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe.
And welcome to the team.
And welcome to the team. How did I forget that? I'm glad you're here, man. I am glad you are here.
All right,
All right, what else we got?
I'm just kind of waiting to see what GPUs does here. If we end up taking out these sellers at 315 and 515 and 520, price action is kind of going back and forth in this lower part of the handle here. Just lost 5. I'm not in this, but I'm just watching to see what it does, because if I just want to see if it's going to end up going to that trend line. Looks like CEP is trying to recover. It's come back up to its VWAP.
Mike, good morning. It's great to see you. Happy Monday. I have delivered your message to James. He will be thrilled to say that, or to see that. Excuse me. You're welcome, Jabez.
Yeah, Wolf right up to the 65.
I was just looking at that.
Right up to that. Waiting to see what GPUs does. AIFF, that doesn't have a lot of volume. That's probably not going to do a whole lot today, or maybe out of nowhere it just does a spike. IVF, that came down to the okay, so this is interesting. Came down to that 240 area where we were getting resistance prior to the breakout. Tested that as support. Now it's bouncing off it and recapturing VWAP. I'm still going to be a little cautious here with IVF, because this could be a bear flag. So if we continue to hold over the VWAP, that's going to be a good sign that bear flag is not going to happen. But if we are going to get it, we're going to see another move lower beneath 240 coming up pretty soon here, probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Good stuff there. IVF.
Okay, next candle is starting for GPUS. Let's see what we get.
Sorry, 13, real quick. CEP looks like it's trying to curl here. I would watch and see what happens at the VWAP. That VWAP's at 35. This here, one of the reasons you saw us talking about and trading this in tranches. If this does curl and bounce here today, at least we've already got gains booked on it, and it is a successful day on that trade here so far.
Yeah, we'll see if the pumpers are going to do anything with this. I don't know what their goal was, but more times than not, their goal is to get liquidity into the name that they're pumping and make an easier exit for themselves.
Chris noticing that the IWM here might be going red to green here at a faster rate than the SPY. IWM only 0.2% off red to green. SPY here, conversely, 3.5 off, 0.35% away.
IBM can lead the way. So the 50-day SMA for IWM is at 198.44. We actually got a support test from that earlier this morning. Moving off of that, we're coming up to 2 levels here: the 500-day SMA, which the value of that is 201.44, and this 202 level that I've had drawn from the August 16th, 2022. Looks like that was the high? Yes, it was. So that those are the next 2 resistance areas we're coming up to. We'll see if we end up taking them out.
Here's your IWM chart, by the way. Lion, take care of yourself.
Take care, Lion.
Thanks for stopping by. Tomorrow's a new day, Lion, and we will attack it. We'll see you bright and early.
Probably hit that CEP again. That was a really good one for everybody that was trading puts. So look at the price action in ZCAR now. This is not one that I'd be particularly too interested in going long here. I don't like this type of rejection with these candles are facing. This usually is a precursor to downside. So I would be very, very careful about going long here at all.
Okay. Yeah, it does. Sure looks like it's tired here. You got a bunch of wicks on this 5-minute chart too. Just as I say that, it goes for new highs. Tries to.
Well, let's see if it breaks out that 1260. That was. Let's just see what we get. I mean, that one. It's very spready. So a sale of 10 shares could move this 20 cents. But let's see. It seems like there are some bidders that are stacking up around the 1920 area. I'm sorry, the 1220 area. But the volume's very low, so I just wouldn't bother with this right now.
Hood, interestingly enough, this dipped down to 46, which is where it bottomed out the last couple of sessions. and right back on. This actually has a possibility of going red to green if this continues here on Hood.
GPUS, it's looking like we might see this moved over 5.
There we go.
Here it comes. There it is. 542 is the new high.
Wow. And I don't see anything big yet on the ladder here on the level 2 in terms of offers or anything.
It might be closer to 558 and like somewhere between 555 and 570. I see a few sellers with some concentration there, but they could easily get taken out with the volume that we're experiencing right now.
Chat. Great job there on GPUS. Any of you that were trading this here, I didn't trade this one at all today. I passed on this one, sat on my hands, but this is working out. Great of you guys to hit this one here today.
Yeah, this is the kind of move where I think it'd be good to raise stops, make sure that you're if it does drop from here, you are booking some better gains.
Plus 280% here. I know we don't have Tuna here today, but one of the things he's watching are how many 100% runners we get in a day. GPUS, the big one here today.
And we're not done with the day, so this could this could continue to go higher. Maybe it pulls first, and then in the afternoon it runs. I mean, we've talked about this a lot with these names that we trade in the morning, and I don't know how many of you are watching these all afternoon into the close, but you see a lot of them do end up coming back and going higher than the prints we get in the morning. So always worth it to keep them on your radar if they set up for that kind of price action in the afternoon.
TEM here. I'm seeing some calls get bought into this, seeing a bunch of different X, which is US Steel here. Seeing a bunch of put sweeps in there, different strikes, different expiries. Some of them are leaps. Looks like a bunch of different trades just crossing the wire there on X, all on the put side.
And I know it's an old comment, but Blaze Rhino saying "kids in the hall." That's a good. That was a funny show. But did you ever watch The State? That was on for a very short period of time on MTV. That was a hilarious show. And a lot of the cast went over to Reno 911. Funny stuff.
What else do I see going around here?
New highs in GPUS. And IVF.
Should have just left that on.
IVF still recovering. Got back over VWAP. Let's see how far it can go.
You guys ask Izzy here saying, ooh, Hood V calls. I think you meant Hood calls. I didn't see those come across here. Did I miss something? Let me filter for Hood here and see where we're at. What do you think of Hood? I think with all of the volatility that we're seeing here in both crypto and stocks, I got to think Hood's probably a good bet. Lots of call buying here. 60 calls. Oh my. This must have been what you were talking about. 60 calls expiring on July 17th. So the July monthly contract, is that right? Yeah, the July monthly contract here. Boy, there was a bunch of sweeps on that. Hood.
I still like 44. That's actually where the 20-day SMA is too. Just draw a horizontal line at 44. You'll see why I like it.
Sorry, so these contracts here that I'm looking at right in here, these July 60s, there were 10,400 contracts traded at that strike and expiry here today. Only 4,000 in the open interest. There are new eyes or contracts being held open here. Hood. That's going to be the July 60 contract. That currently has an ask of 223 per on those contracts. That is the most notable unusual option activity I've seen here today. What is Hood trading at relative to its forward PE? Coming into today, Chris, Hood had a forward PE here of 35.7. That's actually not, I mean, I guess that is a little high, but that's not crazy given some of these other valuations we're seeing.
Not crazy, but still, I think a little bit higher valuation than it really deserves.
Hood, high rankings on momentum, high rankings on growth, and a positive short, medium, and long-term trend. That is Hood, H-O-O-D.
New highs in GPUS. I swear this thing is going to go right to that trend line.
And you sound surprised. I'm not quite sure why. I'm going to have to extend this trend line out. How about that? Here you go.
It's because it's silly, Ryan.
Okay.
It's silly.
You're right. When you write, you write. Charles here saying ODD. That's odd. We took a look at that earlier. That's up another 4% here.
That is odd.
Yeah, that is odd. Nice little move post earnings here. No, Jay, you were all over that one.
Yeah, I'll say this: if Hood actually gave a good test off to bounce off 44, I think that would be a really good indication that it's going to go higher.
It went to 45 and change here today.
I need lower.
Chris here saying 35x is not crazy, relatively speaking, on Hood. I do get the impression they continue to show growth. That's my thing here, Chris. And the fact is that like both Bitcoin and the equity markets are volatile. So wouldn't you expect more people to be trading? I think like volume wise, that would be good. I think that just looks good across the board.
Well, if it's going to be so heavily tied to how much crypto do they have, by the way, Hood?
You mean like do they hold?
Yeah, are they big holders?
Let me look that up here for you real quick. I happen to have that handy here, so let me see. I don't think that they are, but I was just talking about like the trading volume. But let me look it up nonetheless, Rob. No, I don't see them even on this list here.
Okay, so they must. Well, when you trade Bit or any crypto with Hood, you're trading it through a trust. But I was just curious if they actually were holders, and it doesn't seem like they are, which it means they're not going to be tied to the movement of Bitcoin.
Nope. Instead, they're going to be, I think, tied to trading volumes here. And again, both of those seem elevated. By the way, SPY here continuing to push higher. 565 coming here. We just had a test there.
You know what else is pushing higher?
GPUS.
582.
13. We only got 5 minutes left in the show here. You want to make a prediction on GPUS, whether it hits that or not? What are we looking at? Where are we looking at here?
If it went there right now, we'd be looking at $8.
We're looking at about 8 to 9. I would say that's probably our level, just judging by the trend line here. 8 to 9.
Yeah, and I don't want to say there's a guarantee that this is going to hit, but it seems like it's trying to go there. So if it does, great. If you're trading this and you're going to try to play it for that trend line, make sure you're adjusting your stops appropriately or putting on a trailing stop. Just don't get hurt in this thing, and it's starting to pull now. So just be careful if you're going to trade this. There's no guarantee it could get up to that trend line. There's no guarantee any of the things that we talk about could do it, but sometimes they do. Most of the time they do. Sometimes
we're just trying to tell you what we see here. Yeah. Mike, talking about Palantir here, like that Palantir short, YOLO Palantir. So, Mike, what do you got? You have any thoughts here on Palantir's earnings report? I mean, looking at the daily, we're pretty much right at this double top. That actually looks like a pretty clean double top. We did not have the strength to push above that today. I know we've run recently into this earnings report. Multiple here is just absolutely bananas. 238 is your forward PE. What do you think is going to happen here with this earnings report on Palantir? Mike, curious. Persona Dev Blog. Awesome YouTube name. Hood is going to rocket. It's just moving with SPY at the moment, but once the post-earnings hysteria is done, investors will feel safe.
When it comes to Palantir, I'm looking at how extended this is, and I know that this isn't the most extended it can get. We've seen this thing get into the 80 RSIs. So this thing, if it has good earnings, it could absolutely break out into new all-time highs and go on a run. I just, I'm not going to try and make that prediction or trade it. We're actually getting a really big move away. Sorry to jump ships here, but we're getting a big move away here from the VWAP and the SQQQ. So could be a setup coming for that as well. I think you also want me to kind of wrap this up as well.
No, I mean, we got 3 minutes for that. I'm actually really glad that you mentioned the SQQQ trade here, 13, because we are in fact approaching that. What do I have? 29.23. Well, no. Yeah, we're only 30 cents away. SQQQ. But this is good because if we continue, this will be the setup for the possible regression back to the mean. And the market is pushing. 565 now. So, okay. So it took me a sec to get my bearings there, 13. Sorry about that.
And GPUS still pushing into new highs right now, 584. So, hey, looking like that's still going strong. But I think when it comes to the next trades that I'd be doing, I think those directional ETFs are going to be the way to go. It's just always really seems to be the safest and best way to play after all the volume has left the movers in the morning.
No doubt about it. GPUS new highs here, 585. Your high print. Congrats to all of you that were on this.
Mm-hmm. Now I did trade this one, but I didn't stay around for this, so I am missing out. But that's fine. I'm happy with what I got out of it.
Hey, as long as you got something out of this, you're doing all right.
Yeah, I think I got a little bit more cautious as soon as we got up to 5, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to be okay with what I've got now.
Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this. Just as a reminder, we are going to be playing the Palantir. We're going to be covering the earnings here tonight, so be sure to stick around for that. Jacob saying, can you please stop pulling me back in the GPUS? That is something that we battle. I can appreciate that, Jacob. We battle that every day. All right, give us a wrap up here, 13.
Hey, folks, wonderful morning. Great start to the week. Just to let you know, I will be showing up a little bit late this week to PreMarket Playbook. I got some things I got to deal with in the mornings, but just this week, I'll still try to be here before that opening bell rings, and we'll trade some of these movers. Other than that, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your trading day, and great job on all your trades you did today. I'll see you tomorrow, folks. Goodbye.
All right, that is 13 again. 13, thank you so much for handling it with Kevin. Folks, it's good to be back. Happy Monday. It is a Fed week. We're going to take you through all of it. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We will see you